All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is David Patrick Carey with Church of the Eternal Logos. And tonight, on this very beautiful and lovely Saturday night, we're going to be reading a little bit of poetry. And we're going to be taking live call-ins from anybody who is interested. So we will be taking call-ins most likely through the Instagram. I'm open to really any mechanism that was just the easiest for previous streams, that you guys can just direct message me on Instagram, and we can do a video phone call right there through Instagram. So that's probably going to be the easiest once we get into the call. So please feel free to call in. It's a stream hangout, so whatever you want to talk about, it's fair game. But I figure to get as people come in, we can read some poetry. And I talked to you guys about recently, and I've actually read, I think I've read a few here on the stream, on a previous stream. We read some poetry. And my grandmother was a very prolific poet. Not necessarily that all of her stuff was published or she was famous, not quite to that extent, but she did write a ton. And just to show you, here's a few that I grabbed. So you can see, again, most of them are handwritten. This folder right here is all poetry. And so I had been reading through all her poetry just to think about, I wanted to do something with it, right? She was a very creative woman. My grandmother was born in 1915, and she had an undergraduate degree and then got her master's degree from Ball State. Her undergraduate was from a school called Manchester College, of which was actually the school I went to after high school to play basketball. Some of you guys know my story. Then I had a heart murmur, decided I didn't want to play basketball, and then I transferred away from that school. But my grandmother actually graduated from that college, Manchester College, and she got her master's degree from Ball State, and she was a school teacher for many years. And she was even the president of the teachers union in Indiana. I think it was the teachers union. Anyways, she loved to write poetry. And knowing that, I had come across, here actually, let me get the ones that spawned all this. They're actually in my Bible, right? So I had come across the two poems that were in her Bible. And we can read those. We can start with those, I guess, most appropriate. And some of you guys who are in the Telegram group, by the way, please come join us over on the Telegram. Here, I'm going to share my link tree with you guys. This has basically all the links to whatever I do online. So come join us over on Telegram. We got a great group, the group chat. Then you can also follow me directly on Telegram. I post everything I do or appear in like a podcast. Just had a great podcast over on the Rooster's Crow podcast. With good buddy James, Greek Orthodox gentleman. I do recommend checking that out. You can find that in the community post. I actually made a community post here on Church of the Eternal Logos. So if you go to the community post section, you'll be able to see a direct link to that podcast. We filmed that earlier this morning. But anyways, a few weeks ago, and you guys in the Telegram group know because I filmed a video of me reading some of these to you guys. And so here, these are the two that I found in her Bible. And this prompted me to then want to try to find as many of her works as possible and just keep them safe and try to think of a really unique artistic way to sort of bring some of her works to life. And so you'll see that they basically all have the same rhyming pattern. They're not, but as I have been reading these the last few days, they've been really moving. They've been really powerful for me. Of course, it is my grandmother, so I understand that. But hopefully you guys also enjoy the sentiments and the message behind many of these poems. So here's one that I actually made a video sharing with people over in the Telegram group. And again, these have no titles, right? I don't even know how many people have read these. She just handwrites poems all the time, and they're everywhere. Here's one. God has a plan for every man. He has a task for you, and nothing he has assigned to you is ever too hard to do. He speaks to your heart if you listen, with encouragement and love. And if you'll accept his presence, he'll send power from above. He needs your voice. He needs your hands, your feet, your heart, your head. To demonstrate his wondrous love, go forth to serve, he said. Have you been giving your all to God? He has given you so much. Are you fulfilling the task he set before your life? Oh, I'm sorry, I actually skipped a line. Let me reframe this section here. Have you been giving your all to God? He has given so much for you. Are you fulfilling the task he set before your life is through? I bow my head and pray, O Lord, may I trust and fulfill. May I use all my earthly power to do my master's will. I really enjoyed that one. Here's another. This was, again, I just found this. This was a random one I found in her Bible. Here's another one that she wrote that I found in her Bible. God's solution to our problems is not always what we have guessed, but we are assured what answer he gives is always for the best. At times we tend to doubt him, to think he has forgot, but then he brings an answer that's greater than what we thought. If we but put our hand in his and trust his wondrous way, we'll find that he will never fail if we believe him when we pray. For he knows every solution, and he hears every prayer. He'll always have an answer, so he never leaves you in despair. Sorry, I gotta get better at reading these things. I'm ruining it. First two I've already ruined with my inability to make it consistent. Other news, guys. One of the new icons came in. The St. John icon has come in, so I'll be getting this blessed tomorrow at church by the Father. So get that blessed. And then the Christ creating the stars and Christ creating life, those icons are also in the mail. They're on their way. Now here, again, here's a bunch that I've got that I want to share with you. I really enjoyed this one. This one actually has a title to it. It's called A Layman's Poem. And as you can see, it's very fragile. The paper's already kind of falling apart. But check this poem out. Tell me what you guys think. One autumn, so this is the title of this poem is A Layman's Poem by Helen T. Harry. My grandmother's name is Helen Harry, and so this is one of her printed poems that actually was titled, One autumn morning, early, I rose before the sun. I took a moment to meditate before my work had begun. I heard the first birds chirping. I felt the gentle breeze. I gloried in all the brilliance of the brightly colored leaves. I walked among the flowers, their faces drenched with dew. They offered their sweet fragrance to the day that was so new. I looked at clouds above me and breathed the clean, fresh air. I pondered all the mystery of our Father's world so fair. I thought of home and family and friendships that I hold dear, the comforts and the luxuries that we take for granted here. My job, my church, my children, these precious gifts we hold, the memories of our parents, a treasure more than gold. Then all at once it struck me, like a bolt out of the blue, just what are you giving in exchange for what God is giving you? For all that God has given me, both outside and within, what have I offered in return when he died for all my sin? I have a voice, though not so great. I can proclaim his praise. I have 2 hands that I can use to help some spirit raise. I have 2 feet to take me to someone's pain-wrecked bed. Have I been thinking only of how I feel instead? There's some heart that is lonely, to whom I might be a friend. There is some comforting message that easily I might send. Oh, there are many, many things, untalented though I be, that I could do to show to all a Christian love in me. Dear God, forgive my selfishness, my thoughtless busy way, and make my life a useful life of serving day by day. And Lord, make me a channel through which some soul is won. And someday may I hear thee say, well done, my child, well done. That is a layman's poem. And so that was my grandmother's poem called A Layman's Poem. I really enjoyed that one. I thought that one was beautiful. Really, really appreciated that one. I'll read one to you guys that she actually had published here. So one of the ones that she had published is called God Makes No Mistake. So it's a little bit of a shorter prayer, or a poem. It's a little bit of a shorter poem, but here, check this one out. This one was published in a couple of different places, I believe. So this poem is titled God Makes No Mistakes. God makes no mistake in his plan for our life. Though through weakness we doubt in times of strife, how often we wonder, does God really care? Does he carry our burdens, our sorrows share? When sadness brings changes and we think we can't go on, he patiently waits till our doubting is gone. His love never lessens, though our faith may shake. Through his infinite wisdom, God makes no mistake. So, I really like that one. That's a more popular one. That was called God Makes No Mistake. We have another one here. This one's called Morning Prayer. Morning Prayer. So this one's Morning Prayer, again by my grandmother, Helen Turbyville Harry. Morning Prayer. O Lord, I thank thee for this early morn, for the sunlight filtering through the trees, for birds that waked at dawn to sing, for the coolness of the morning's breeze, for daily work that lies ahead, for friends I may meet today, for use of hands and ears and eyes, for some kind word to say. And thank thee, Lord, for yesterdays, filled with memories held so dear, for family and many loving friends who are scattered far and near. Accept my gratitude for all of life, its trials and days of care, for out of these has come new strength to make me more aware that thou dost know and thou dost care, and art conscious of all my needs. So let me trust my life today to thee, dear Lord, for all these. By Helen Harry. So that is Morning Prayer. Here's one called Praise. Here's a poem called Praise. Guys, smash that like if you could. Would really, really appreciate it. Smash that like. I'll type that in the chat. If you guys just joined, would greatly appreciate that. Here is another poem titled Praise. I praise the Lord in the morning, when the grass is fresh with dew, when the birds begin their singing, and the awakening sun peeks through. I praise the Lord at noontime, when at work or at my play, with tasks to do or hours of ease, no matter what fills my day. I praise the Lord in the evening, as the daylight begins to fade, when the sky is aflame with the setting sun, a farewell to the day he has made. I praise the Lord at the nighttime, when the moon and the stars all shine. I praise him for the hours of sleep. These blessings are all mine. And when at last my life shall end, my sojourn here is over, I'll travel on to be with him, to praise forevermore. So that is praise. That was another poem that I really enjoyed. Here are a few. Let me read some of these to you that I really enjoyed. This one had no title. I have no idea how many people have read this poem or how many people she shared it with. I found this in a folder, and the last line is what I would have titled it. It would have been "No Indispensable Man." So here's a poem that I'm titling for her called "Indispensable Man." Sometime when you're feeling important, sometime when your ego's in bloom, sometime when you take it for granted you're the best qualified in the room, sometime when you feel that your going would leave an unfillable hole, just follow this simple instruction and see how it humbles your soul. Take a bucket and fill it with water. Put your hand in it up to your wrist. Pull it out, and the hole that is remaining is a measure of how much you'll be missed. You may splash all you wish as you enter. You may stir up the water galore. But stop, and you'll find in a minute it looks quite the same as before. The morale of this quaint example is, quote, just do the best as you can. Be proud of yourself, but remember, there is no indispensable man. Really good stuff, right? I really enjoyed that poem right there, of humbling oneself. So I saw that Theoria Zone said, crazy how relevant these are to me at the moment. Yeah, I felt really touched by reading. Again, I've already read all these that I have right here. And then I have a whole nother folder that if you guys wanted to, we could just pull out a poem that I've never read before. It'd be a new experience for me. She's got tons of poems. Tons and tons of poems. This is something that I really wanted to read with you guys too. That I was touched by this one, A Letter from Heaven. And so this is a poem titled "A Letter from Heaven." And I think this poem is going to be powerful for anybody who's lost anybody, right? So you can kind of fill the voice of this poem with whoever you have in mind, but it's a very nice, a very nice poem. And so this is titled "A Letter from Heaven." I'm writing this from heaven, where I dwell with God above. Here there's no more tears or sadness. Here is just eternal love. Please do not be unhappy just because I am out of sight. Remember, I am with you every morning, noon, and night. That day I had to leave you when my life on earth was through. God picked me up and hugged me, and he said, I welcome you. It's good to have you back again. You were missed while you were gone. As for your dearest family, they'll be here later on. I need you here so badly. You are part of my big plan. There's so much that we have to do to help our mortal man. God gave me a list of things that he wished for me to do, and foremost on this list was for me to watch and care for you. I will be beside you every day, and week and year. And when you're sad, I'm standing there to wipe away the tear. But do not be afraid to cry. It does relieve the pain. Remember, there would be no flowers unless there was some rain. I wish that I could tell you that God has I wish I could tell you all that God has planned. But if I were to tell you, you wouldn't understand. But one thing is for certain, though my life on earth is over, I am closer to you now than I ever was before. And to my friends, trust God. He knows what is best. I'm still not very far away from you. I'm just behind the crest. There are many rocky roads ahead of you and many hills to climb. There are many rocky roads ahead of you and many hills to climb. But together we can do it by taking one day at a time. It was always my philosophy, and I'd like it for you too, that as you give unto the world gives back to you. If you can help somebody who's in sorrow or in pain, then you can say to God at night, my day was not in vain. And now I contend that my life, it was worthwhile, knowing as I passed along the way, I made somebody smile. So if you meet somebody who is down and feeling low, just lend a hand to pick him up as on your way you go. When you are walking down the street and you've got me on your mind, I'm walking in your footsteps. I'm only a half step behind. And when you feel that gentle breeze or that wind upon your face, that's me giving you a great big hug or just a soft embrace. And when it's time for you to go, for that body to be free, remember you're not going, you're coming back here to me. And I will always love you from that land way up above. We'll be in touch again soon. P.S. God sends his love. Whoa. Wasn't expecting that. Sorry for the waterworks, everybody. Woo. Golly, what got into me? Anyways, that was good lordy. That was That was her poem titled A Letter from Heaven. Oh. So, oh boy. Was not expecting me to do that. Sorry about that, guys. So, golly, I don't even know how I got so emotional. I guess, I think there's something that's got to be said about reading poetry out loud. It's got a different feel than me when I was just reading it privately. Woo! Okay. Let's get another one. Here's one. Again, no title on this poem. Just on the back of it looks like a recipe book. So this is a poem that she put on the back of a recipe book. Okay. I would probably name this poem Your Shoes. That's what I would name this poem. Yes, what kind of shoes are you wearing for the work that you must do? Are they leading you toward or away from the mission God has set for you? Lord, take my feet and let them move, and the path you've set for me. Let me not stray from thy calling. Let me thy purpose see. Cleanse my heart from haughty views, and humble let me stand. Make me a servant of thy will, and guide me with thy loving hand. Let me love my neighbor as myself, forgetting self and greed, but giving of myself to all of those I find in need. May I each day some kindness do for others, Lord, I pray. Make me an instrument of thy love today and every day. So that was another poem. Again, I have no idea how many people have even read that poem. It was back on a recipe book page that she pulled out. Let me get this one there's another one that I really liked. Here. Here is another poem that she actually had published. This one's called The Man Upstairs. So we read the God Makes No Mistake. That was one that was published. And this was another one that got published. And she wrote this one in 1997. 1997. This poem is titled The Man Upstairs by Helen Harry in 1997. I keep close contact with the man upstairs. He's my consultant in all my affairs. He determines the things that I do. He's my constant companion the whole day through. I don't need to worry when things go wrong. He just turns my troubles into a song. I wake up each morning with joy in my heart when I know the man upstairs has a part in making my life afresh and new, more than anyone on earth could ever do. Someday I shall meet him face to face, and by his power and matchless grace, he'll walk in peace along with me to my heavenly home and eternity. So, that was The Man Upstairs. Let's see here. Here's a small one. Looks like she just jotted down. No title whatsoever. Just pulled out from a piece of looked like a booklet. Oh, I read this one earlier. I would name this one "Coming Back Home." That's what I would name this one. But it has no name. She just wrote this down. I've traveled far. I've traveled near. I've met new friends who are so dear. I've sailed the seas and climbed the heights. I've gloried in the breathtaking sights. I've ridden the smooth and I've trodden the rough. I've seen the gentle and I've known the tough. I felt summer's sun and winter's cold, admired the newest and the old. Yet what I see or how far I roam, there's nothing more lovely than coming back home. So, I like that one. I think everybody can agree the splendidness of coming back home. There's so many here. Here's again, this one she typed, that this has no title either. So check this one out. I looked to heaven and tried to pray, but heaven looked the other way. For in my prayer and in my plea were all the things I wanted for me. I could not see my brother's need. I could not tolerate another creed. I could not waste time on the hungry lad. I could not take time to console the sad. I wanted my happiness. I wanted it all, no matter how many around me should fall. No matter how urgent my request, I prayed so hard. I did my best. No answer came, and then I saw my life held one tremendous flaw. My selfishness had left me blind. All love for others I had left behind. I asked forgiveness for my sin. Then all at once heaven's light shone in. I looked within, and I saw that I, in order to live, all self must die. So that was a good one in regards to selflessness, I would say. We'll save that one for a minute here. We read The Man Upstairs. Here's one that I really like. This one has no name, and the writing is actually about to be faded off. And so I'm going to have to rewrite this one. I can barely read it. Luckily, I can. This is from June of 1988. So this is the year before I was even born. Again, no title. She wrote this in 1988, June. I've got peace in my soul, for the Lord has come to me. I've got peace in my soul, and now the light I see. I've got peace in my soul. From the guilt and shame, I'm free. I've got wonderful, wonderful peace in my soul. I've got peace in my soul, and in walking in His way. I've got peace in my soul, and we're talking day by day. I've got peace in my soul, since He took my sins away. I've got wonderful, wonderful peace in my soul. I've got peace in my soul, and you can have it too. Wondrous peace in your soul. It's waiting there for you. 'Cause when there's peace in your soul, you're happy all day through with that wonderful, wonderful peace in your soul. So obviously that poem should be titled Peace in Your Soul, but I really liked that one as well. Here is, let's see, what else we got here? No, I'll skip that one. That one's a little short. Here's one. I have not sure what's in this one. Again, you can see the paper's ripped. There's a coffee stain. I have no idea if anybody's ever even heard of this one. Oh, let me read the. Looks like we got two super chats from Gen Z Philosophy. So let me read those real quick. And by the way, guys, if you guys are interested, please super chat over on the Streamlabs link. I will, or YouTube, whatever you feel more comfortable with. It really doesn't matter. There's the Streamlabs link. Gen Z Philosophy threw in $4.99 earlier and said, St. John the Beloved, with his head resting in the bosom of our Lord at the Last Supper, is the most meaningful mental image I have from the Gospels. Ooh. That's profound, Gen Z Philosophy. I can relate to that. And again, St. John, speak of the devil. Well, I mean, not the devil. I shouldn't use that colloquial phrase, but this that's who just came in yesterday evening, was St. John the theologian. So thankful for him. Here is another poem that I'm not even sure if I read this one. The paper's pulled. I'm sure I did, but here we go. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Then Gen Z Philosophy threw in another $4.99, and he said, "Your grandma's got bars." Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Glad you're enjoying the poetry. So here's another poem. I knelt to pray when day was done, and prayed, O Lord, bless everyone. Lift. Let me read that. So there's a word there. It was hard to read. I knelt to pray when day was done, and prayed, O Lord, bless everyone. Lift from each heart the saddened pain, and let the sick be well again. And then I awoke to another day, and carelessly went on my way. The whole day long I did not try to wipe a tear from any eye. I did not try to share the load of any brother on my road. I did not even go to see the sick man just next door to me. Yet once again, when day was done, I prayed, O Lord, bless everyone. But as I prayed, and to my ear where came a voice that whispered clear, "Pause, thoughtless one, before you pray. Whom have you tried to bless today? God's sweetest blessings always go by hands that serve him here below." And then I hid my face and cried, "Forgive me, I've not even tried. Let me but live another day, and help me live the way I pray." Helen Harry. So, I wasn't even aware of that one. That was another good one. I really enjoyed that. Orthodox Alethea says, "Loving the new light in the back. Glad you like it, brother." I know I love it too. I was thinking about buying another one actually. I think I heard a super chat come in over on Streamlabs. Let me go check that out. Jimmy threw in 369 and said, "God bless everyone in chat. Thank you for sharing these poems, David. Man, many of the messages are relevant to my life as of late, and many tears have been shed so far." Laugh out loud. Have a blessed night. Well, thank you very, very much, Jimmy, for the $3.99. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I know that it's a Saturday night. It's been beautiful weather out, so I'm sure many people now are probably out and about enjoying the weather. So please, if you are here, please smash that like. I'd greatly appreciate that. We have many, many more poems that we can read. If anybody would be interested, since we're already about an hour into the stream, if anybody would like to call in, you can feel free. Like I mentioned, we were going to just use Instagram. So if anybody has Instagram, find me at DPHARRY and just send me a private message, and then I can just call you real quick through Instagram and hold you up to the microphone. So if anybody's interested in calling in and having a convo, reflecting on any of the poetry, or have any ideas you want to share, feel free to message me over on Instagram. It doesn't look like anybody so far is interested in calling in. So, there. Anyways, let's continue on and read some more poems. Here's one. Again, no name, no title, I should say, just written on a random piece of paper. The church bell rings each Sunday morn to remind us that it's the day. We meet again upon the hill to worship, sing, and pray. How fast the time seems to pass that we have journeyed here with friends, neighbors, and loved ones who have proved to be so dear. The lovely lake, the places to see, the times we spend at rest, the potlucks, the get-togethers are things we love the best. We've been saddened by the loss of those we've loved so very much. We'll miss the smile and the voice, the hand clasps, hugs, and touch. We pray to God and His love and grace to bless the ones gone before, and may we someday touch His hand on that great heavenly shore. And now it's time to say goodbye. So let's just clasp hands and then join our hearts as we bid farewell, singing "God be with you till we meet again." So that's another little poem there. I think I heard another super chat go off. Let me check that out real quick. Yes, the Zone just sent in $5. And he said, very moving and relevant words of wisdom for your grams. Thank you for sharing, and don't thank me, and thank Uncle Joe Biden. All right. Well, thank you, Theorizone, for spending 5 of your Biden bucks here. I greatly appreciate that, brother. Here is another poem we can read. I'm going to have to reread that letter from heaven and actually make it through this time without breaking down into waterworks. Actually, this one is a little bit difficult. Melchior. Well, I guess we can try. There's a few words, there's the names in here that I'm not sure what she wrote, so I'm just gonna have to sort of say the best I can. But this poem right here is actually of the Nativity. So this poem, what we're about to read, is a sort of poem about the Nativity of Christ. So here we go, which is appropriate, right? We just celebrated the Annunciation, so we're getting there. So here this poem goes. There's no title, there's no date, there's no anything, just handwritten. I am the star that appeared in the sky, one cold and quiet night. No other star in the heavens above could ever have shone so bright. We are the angels that brought the news of the birth of the newborn King, to the lovely shepherds that stood in awe and heard the angels sing. We are the shepherds who guarded the sheep and saw the star in the sky. We heard the sound of the heavenly throng as they told of his birth from on high. I am the innkeeper who answered the door and shook my head in dismay. There was no room in the inn that night, just a stable and bed of hay. We came from the east, guided by the star, bearing our treasures rare, to see the prophecy come true and gaze at this child so fair. My name is Caspar, and I bring gold to lay at the Christ child's feet. My name is Melchior. I too bring a gift of frankincense so sweet. I am the third. I am the third of the wise men who came. I am Bathar, a king, myrrh to anointment the newborn babe is the costly gift I bring. Gosh. I am Joseph, and this my wife Mary. Her name shall always be blessed, for out of all the women in the world, she has been chosen the best. For she has brought forth into the world the Savior of all mankind, to preach and heal and teach all men, and through him salvation find. I am Mary, and Jesus is my child, sleeping so peacefully. All men shall bow before his name through all eternity. So that was one of the Nativity there. Now we can, let's see here. Is anybody wanting to call in? Looks like we got a request. No. Okay. Is anybody? I'm not seeing. It doesn't look like anybody is eager to call in, so we can just keep on reading some poems if you guys like. So let's check some more of these out. So anything I'm getting ready to read thus far, I actually have never heard before. Let's see here. Okay, here's a little something I just found called happiness. Happiness within the love of Jesus, never before known. Peace and constant inspiration. In His grace I've grown. Trusting in His ever-present mercy. Joyful all the day. I'm so happy in the love of Jesus. Happier every day. So that's a nice little poem there. Let's see here. Okay, that's not a poem. Here's one that she's got titled Spring. So I guess that would be appropriate given the time in which we are currently in, the annual cycle. So this one's titled Spring. This morning early, there was the smell of rain. A few drops still lingered on my window pane. The robins were busy, as they could be, fitting and flying from ground to tree, to find the place that was the best, where they could build a brand new nest. Some little twigs and pieces of string, or bits of straw, or just anything. Surely God thought the robin how it should be. To soon house a family of 2 or 3. It won't be long till the task is complete, and mother and dad bring the babies a treat. How those hungry mouths will open wide as mother and dad drops something inside. Back and forth they'll sing all day long. Then at night to each other sing a good night song. Helen Harry. So that was a poem for spring. Let's see here. I really, while we're here, I really want to do the one that got a little bit too emotional on again. The letter from heaven. Okay, so I got the letter from heaven ready. We don't have to do that. We can go on to some more if you guys want. Or if anybody wants to call in, my gosh, we can get a combo going. Does anybody out there want to chat? Can't believe nobody wants to chat. Normally everybody's asking me for these call-in shows. And I have one, and nobody's even here to chat. Here's one. Again, never read this one, so let's just let's read this one. No title. Look in your closets, your cupboards, your drawer. You'll find lots of things you don't use anymore. Some kitchen utensils, a cast-aside toy, some outgrown clothing to fit some girl or boy, a hat or a purse, or some wearable shoes you've stored in the closet and no longer use. Some unmatched dishes you don't use every day. You've had them for years, and that of giving them away. I'm sorry, and thought of giving them away. To mark clothes or to sell. We need all your help, your service, and prayers. when we open for business, October 10th, downstairs. So come on and join us. How could anyone be bored when you're giving your time in the service of the Lord? And that was the end of it. Here's another one titled, Let Us Give Thanks. And so it looks like she's cut out basically. Aeneas says, how do I call in? So Aeneas, if you are you on Instagram? So if you just go to my Instagram, you can just message me, and then once I see your account, I can just give you a call here on Instagram, and I can just hold you up to the phone. Instagram. Aeneas, if you have Instagram, brother, just message me. I got it right here, and then I can just call you on my phone and just hold it up to the microphone. It's the easiest. But if you don't have Instagram, we can do something else. I mean, I could open up Zoom and you could hop in there if you wanted, but not anymore. Okay. Ananias, then email me your phone number. There we go. Ananias, just email churchoftheeternallogos@gmail.com. I'll pull it up right now. So I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at my email. Just email me your phone number, and then I'll just call you. How about that? That'll work out. So just email me your phone number, brother, and then I will call you. Crispy, you got Insta? Are you on Instagram, Crispy? If you're on Instagram, just message me. We can just do that. Okay, let's see if Ananias... Nope, he hasn't messaged me yet. Thomas G says he's got it. Dude, hit me up. We can chat. I don't got any messages from anybody. Crispy Johnson says, no, I don't have any apps. Well, we could Zoom. If people could hop into a Zoom call if we wanted. We could set that up. I'd call in, but I don't want to wake the house. Well, I'm confused then why you wanted to call in before, because now we... Okay. Okay, so anybody else? Let's see if anybody contacted me up. Nope, still nobody reached out to me on Insta. Nobody's trying to chat. Well, we can read another poem. Here's another one titled, Let Us Give Thanks. Oh, there's Kendra. Hey, Kendra. we got. Okay, we got Tom here. Let's give him a ring. We're calling Tom. We're contacting Tom. Come on, Tom. Tom. So I just called Tom and he didn't answer. So, George, you're actually wrong. Maybe these 20 people don't use Instagram, but I got 14,000 people over on Instagram. So it says to me that quite a few Orthodox people use Instagram. It may not be preferred for some people. Yeah. Here we go. Tanner Brown. Yeah. I mean, yeah, dude. So Tanner Brown just sent me an email asking if I'm down to chat. Yeah, you guys send me contact info, brother. Like if you want to chat. Like if you're going to send me a message about chatting, make sure you send a phone number or some way in which we can message. There's that's kind of the point. So so Tanner Brown said if am I down the chat? I sent him back, so I said I'm down. I can just start up a Instagram or a Zoom call, and that we could open that up, and I can just share that link with certain people, and then they could jump in. So why don't we do that? Let's see here, apps. Let's get Zoom going. Okay. So let's see here. We'll say start. Okay. And we will say participants, invite, email, get the link. And so here, Tom, I can send you the Zoom link if you want to hop in that way real quick, because I know that you're messaging me through okay, so here is here's a Zoom link. First come, first serve to anybody who wants to chat. Okay, we're going to start with Tanner Brown. So he sent me his phone number, and because of that, I am going to respect his wishes. And we are going to... All right. So we got the first caller of tonight. Let's see.
Check, hello?
Tanner, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's good, man? Let me turn off my YouTube here so there's not any interference. How you been, man?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing okay. Thank you so much for calling me. This is crazy. I'm a little nervous, man.
It's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, yeah, I didn't intend on calling. I'm usually pretty quiet when it comes to watching your channel and everything. I don't really jump in the chat or do too many comments. I usually just leave a like. But, man, my heart's beating. This is crazy. It's so good to talk to you, man.
No, it's great. It's great, brother. What's on your mind? What are you up to tonight?
Not much, man. Just had work, just kind of doing some chores around the house, that kind of thing, and I tuned into your stream. It was great listening to your grandmother's poetry, of course. That is some very impressive poetry. Incredible.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. But I knew, and I guess I'll go ahead and put it out there, but I knew after, kind of after the election and everything, kind of the disappointment that set in with that, I knew that I kind of made a vow with myself that my faith was going to be more important because I didn't want to put too much hope, into worldly things, into politicians, into elections, that kind of thing. And, dude, I tuned into so many channels. I mean, there was so much politics that I was consuming beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And I've cut a lot of that stuff out. Not that I don't support some of those guys. Of course, I wish them the best and everything. But I'd say your channel is one of the ones I watch probably some of the most now.
Wow.
It's just been it's been encouraging to me, man. I love your lo-fi mixes when I'm washing dishes or just doing whatever, little things. I put it on and I can't believe just how relaxing it is, just the mood that it puts me in as opposed to, other music I listen to that gives me, whatever dopamine I may be searching for. But
right.
Yeah.
Man, I thank you so much for that, man. I just had a conversation with Keenan. So he's the artist that made that the much larger lo-fi mix that's like an hour long. People are saying they're in the waiting room for Zoom. 1 second. Okay, I'll get to you guys in a second. Okay.
Yeah, you're good, man.
But I was telling him how much I loved his stuff because I do love that lo-fi, just that lo-fi vibe. And I wanted, of course I like chant music like everybody else, but that's not that's not the best bridge, I think, to build for just people who are getting into this whole avenue of thought. And so for me, like B-Dive with his sampling, like he samples gospel music. And so we're going to be working on putting together like another hour-long video like I did with Keenan and his lo-fi beats, but it'll be with B-Dive stuff. But I think it is so relaxing, and it's so beautiful. I mean, it's just like it's lower intensity music. It's the beat isn't up high, meaning the beat pattern, per the tempo per minute. So I don't know. I really like it. I think Keenan, he's going to be working on some more, and I know B-Dive is making some more. So we're going to have another lo-fi, but it's clearly not the most popular thing on the channel. I've got people upset, accusing me of creating heretical music, as if I thought any of this stuff should be inside of a church. So.
No, man. It's I don't know. Maybe just because music is such a huge part of my life. Yeah, I don't know, there's something to it. Maybe I'm just reading more into it than is there, but I don't know, just the fact that there is sort of a, if you will, just sort of a Christian energy to it. There's something really calming about it. It's strange. I mean, it's a good kind of strange, but yeah, just the mood that it puts me in. But I tell you, I listen to those all the time. Man, they're just incredible. But
well, I'm glad that you like them, brother. Where are you at in regards to your spiritual journey? Are you Orthodox? Are you Christian? Are you kind of getting into these waters from a different worldview previously?
Yeah. So the chat's gonna have a good time with this one, I'm sure. But I'll just go ahead and go for it. So I guess technically I'm still a Protestant.
Okay.
Yeah, so really I did not start learning about Orthodoxy until fairly recently. I think, who was it at first? Probably like Roosh, was Roosh, and then coming across Jay Dyer, like, through political topics, and of course he covers like a lot of the deeper stuff with his geopolitics stuff, and I found that pretty interesting. And I think one of the first like Orthodox priests I came across on YouTube was like Father Spiridon, and of course myself being a non-denominational, Protestant Christian, when I saw him and like certainly please forgive me if I'm misspeaking about any of it, but of course when I see him in his priest, his robes, the outfit that they typically wear, I mean it was such a shock to me. I was like, whoa, what is this? This is old school. I was like, man, this is back in the day. Yeah, really just listening to you, and I started, of course, following like Josiah Trenum.
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to, there's another YouTube channel, I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, it's called Orthodox Talks. I think the guy's name is Priest Cosmos,
Mm-hmm.
is an Australian guy. I've been listening to his talks, and it's really been kind of clarifying orthodoxy to me. And I think what's so interesting, and like I said, I'm not an Orthodox Christian at the moment. I think where I live, there's only a couple Orthodox churches. I think one of them's Greek. I'm going to have to eventually go check out this other Orthodox church, though. But anyway, I think what draws me to Orthodoxy or certainly what is fascinating me right now
Mm-hmm.
is the way that they explain Christianity
Mm-hmm.
is. And like I said, certainly lots of good Protestants out there.
Right.
There's some very intelligent ones, but yet something about the way Orthodoxy explains Christianity, and maybe it's just the way that I learn in particular,
Mm-hmm.
just the way that my brain works, but it explains it in such a way that is, oh man, it speaks to me. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's beautiful, brother. I really, really hope that your journey into Orthodoxy continues, and that eventually you kind of make the leap. But I really am thankful and appreciative for the kind words that you've already spoken about the channel and trying to create some content. So thank you very much, brother.
Absolutely. Just let me know whenever you want to cut me off, man. I know some other people are probably waiting, but
yeah. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to say? There is. We got two more. Kendra, actually, a girl I go to. One of my friends from church. She is after a gentleman, Aeneas, and so we've opened up the Zoom. I threw in a Zoom link in the chat. So who knows? We'll be hopping in, but. Yeah, if you feel free. If you got anything else you want to say or get off your chest, or it's all yours, man.
Oh man, no, just it's so crazy because it's like I know obviously you and I don't know each other, and I know that of course I'll kind of point back to the music thing a little bit, but it's kind of like listening to your favorite music artists, whoever you may listen to. If you really kind of dive deep into them, kind of the same way I watch your channel or maybe watch others, even though we don't know each other. And I know this is going to sound a little strange, but I feel like I know you. It's just kind of this weird thing.
Right.
But it's so good to talk to you, man. Thank you so much for your channel. I'm not going to lie to you. You're a pretty high IQ guy. Some of the stuff you talk about goes over my head, but I try to keep up as much as I can.
I appreciate that compliment. I'm sure to some people I sound like an ignorant ass, but
no, man, you're good.
But yeah, I tried to do my best, and it just the words of encouragement I hear from you and other people. It's very, very motivating. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, man. But I'm gonna have to throw you.
Do what?
Oh no, I'm gonna have to throw a donation your way, man. I think I've consumed enough of your content. I think it's time for me to put a little money in the pot. I think.
Well, don't feel any obligation, but if you do, brother, I'd greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. Well, I guess I'll let the other callers, be on their way, man.
No, this was a great conversation. Thanks for sending me the email and your phone number so I could reach out and calling in, man. Thank you very much.
Dude, thank you so much, and God bless, dude.
God bless you, and God bless your family. Bye.
Oh, thank you so much. Take care.
All right. Now we got Ananias or Aeneas. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name, brother. What's going on? How you doing?
Hello.
What's up, brother?
Am I coming through?
Yeah, you're coming through. You doing all right? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? My microphone's a little sensitive.
Yeah, I got you. You're coming in through on
All
my
right,
end.
awesome.
Everybody in the chat's
Great.
probably hearing you too.
Well, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, brother. How you doing?
Well, I mean, aside from really frustrating economics homework that I've been doing while listening to you, pretty good otherwise, I suppose. I do not recommend, I really don't
Where do you go to
recommend
school at?
economics. Oh, well, I'm in Texas, I'll say that much.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You don't want to. Yeah, good thinking. You
Yeah,
never know. You never know in today's times. Um,
I live on planet Earth. I live in the Milky Way galaxy. Please
well,
don't dox me.
at least you're specific. I mean, there, according to science, there's a gazillion galaxies. So
It reminds me of this one meme I saw the other day. Someone posted a picture of the universe and then a little dot where Earth is, and they said, I just doxed you.
I like that. So what's going on,
I love
brother?
your content, man.
What are you up to tonight? Besides your economics home, you just chilling on a Saturday?
Pretty much, just a lot of homework.
Yeah.
Thought about going to the gym today, but I guess I regret not going. I
Today was
usually
an
work
off
out
day
about,
for me. I didn't go either.
yeah, 3, 4, sometimes 5 days a week.
Dang. So I take it you're also a lifter. Do you into bodybuilding or powerlifting?
I guess bodybuilding. I mean, I was actually in powerlifting back in high school. And I mean, I've just gotten back into it. I graduated from high school and then I took like 3 years off and I started lifting again. Been at it for about 6 months.
Nice.
I don't
So,
really obsess over my calorie intake or anything. I
right,
try to eat 3 meals, that sort of thing.
right. No, I totally get that. Um, I'm curious, where are you at? Or how would you describe your sort of spiritual life? Are you Orthodox? Are you? I take it
Well,
you're Christian.
yeah, I'm a catechumen right now.
Oh, nice. And what jurisdiction?
OCA.
Oh, nice. So you find yourself a base parish in Texas, I take it?
Yeah, my priest, he's pretty cool.
Nice. So what got you into Orthodoxy? What was your spiritual background growing up?
Well, I was raised as more like I guess an evangelical, I guess would be the closest thing, non-denominational. My mother raised me on a lot of like televangelists and a bunch of well Baptist and Pentecostal different churches in the area.
Okay.
Like my father was a hardcore First Assemblies, and my mother was raised by her father, who was raised Methodist, but became more just like non-denominational. Just I guess I had a pretty varied upbringing,
S-
but
So would you
what
consider
really got
yourself always Christian, or did you get out
oh
to the
always
spiritual, not
definitely.
religious, or?
That's one thing I've always been thankful about is I mean ever since I was a little kid, the existence of God just came naturally to me, belief in him. There was never any serious considerations of leaving the faith or anything like that. I was always pretty consistent in my beliefs. It just made sense to me.
Right.
But I think what it is I've always had a big love for history and I've always had a big love for God. So
Mm-hmm.
I combined the two naturally and started studying things like church history. And I just realized, oh, this is nothing like what I was raised on.
Right.
And I just kind of realized I need to go to something a little bit more in depth, I suppose, a little bit more historical, because I mean, you don't see you don't see non-denominational evangelical Zionism in the third century, for example.
No, I think they were better suited to know who Israel was and who the true
Right.
Israel is.
A spiritual Israel, not a secular state that
Oh, absolutely.
bulldozes the homes of Christians.
Right. Well, Israel, from an Orthodox perspective, is Orthodox Christians, right? So what we would call
Right.
Christendom is Israel. Like you're saying, it's a spiritual state. if you will. It's not a secular state in the world. So even the
Yeah.
Orthodox Jews who are anti-Zionists say how this is a misunderstanding of even their own theology.
Yeah, I always find that really interesting. You would think that they would want to listen to their own body of believers on this issue, but obviously the modern world doesn't really care for traditions or religion in this day and age, so it's really not that surprising.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah, I read some about that in Orthodoxy and the Kingdom of Satan.
mm,
I finished that recently. Very good read. I would
I've never
recommend
read
it.
that.
It's
Orthodoxy and
very, very good.
who's that by?
Father Spiriton Bailey.
Oh, yeah. Well, I like his stuff. I didn't realize that was his book, though.
Have you ever read Orthodoxy and the Religion of the Future?
Yep. Got that right here.
Okay, well, it's almost like a spiritual sequel, so you really got to read it.
Oh, okay.
I picked it up. Well, I printed out a PDF since I'm really short on cash, but I really would like to buy one day to support him.
Yeah,
But
I was
I'd
wanting to reach
strongly
out to
recommend it.
Father Spiridon and see if he wanted to come on sometime, um, just to talk. I was gonna ask him if he'd be interested in just speaking about the sort of practical ways in which we can look at Orthodox spirituality, because the way that he talks about stuff obviously is a different angle
Right,
than I come at, and so I was just gonna let him give us his spiritual wisdom, and really practical ideas, practical
right. A lot of
things.
his videos are really nice, but at times they almost feel a little, I don't know, maybe too broad at times, I guess, because he's trying to appeal to multiple people.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
And he's a Hieromonk, monk, right? So he has a
I believe so. I'm not totally positive.
he's either a monk or a hieromonk monk or something, I think.
Yeah, I think he is. But
Well, he speaks from a lot more of a spiritual. What's the
right.
word? He's a lot more spiritually elevated than us. That's for sure.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, definitely more than so than me. That's a fact.
Yeah, I can barely focus on
But
my morning prayers.
yeah, I have a long way to go.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
but I reached out to Father Peter Hears, and so I think we'll be
I
joining
like
up to
him.
talk about sort of the state of the world and COVID and things like that here soon when
Man,
he gets free. So, and then I'm trying to find a way to reach out to Father Josiah Trenum. I was wanting to
ooh, that
have
would be
him
nice.
and try to talk about what is Orthodox masculinity, and basically let him kind of educate us on what does it mean to be an Orthodox man.
That would be pretty nice to hear, I guess, because there's a lot of young men nowadays that, they're raised by single mothers. They don't have strong father figures, and nowadays society just demonizes anything remotely masculine as toxic masculinity. So, and that would be a great resource, honestly, because I mean, let's be real. There are some things you can find in a secular sense, I suppose, that you could look up to in a way, in a nuanced way. Like some TV shows, some books have good masculine characters in them, but they always have their flaws at the same time.
Right.
And like I think a good example would maybe be like I don't know if you've ever seen Peaky Blinders. Like Thomas Shelby is a pretty cool dude, but morally speaking, he's really thrown off. But he is pretty useful, I'd say, as a source of inspiration for men who just want to learn how to be more solid, I guess.
Right.
Let nothing bother you and don't let don't let your pride get the better of you and always having the right thing to say.
Right. Right. Yeah, I definitely agree. I saw
I
that you
love your
said the
concept,
stream picked
man.
up when you got into the Zoom call.
What's up?
You mentioned that the stream picked up for you. You had no lag when you got into the Zoom call.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm gonna assume I'm like 15, 30 seconds ahead of everyone else.
Yes, you are. Yeah, when we talk right now, this conversation's somewhere between 15 and 20 seconds ahead.
I'm in the future.
Yeah, well, and that's what's so difficult when you're like streaming, because I'm like
Yeah.
responded to something live in the chat, but there's like a 20-second lag. But
Yeah, I know I did notice that. I assumed it was a bit of a stream lag because actually I was like a minute behind you, and then I realized I was, and then I caught up, and I realized, well, it's not as awkward now, but there's still that gap, that pause. It's kind of like how This is something I often think about because I like to study things like body language and how people interact and how they speak and they conduct themselves. It's really interesting. But a good rule of thumb is when you're speaking to somebody, if you count to five before you actually give them a response, nobody really notices. And something I've always heard is you control the pace of a conversation if you want to. So if someone asks you, "How's the weather today?" and you count in your head one, two, three, four, five, and you're thinking of your response, you say, "Well, it's sunny outside, it's real nice." Well, they're not going to notice. And in those 5 or so seconds, you're going to be able to really think on what you're going to say. Granted, that's more useful in high stakes or stressful situations or in arguments or confrontations of any sort, but nonetheless, it's something to think about
Right.
because I think it's useful to think about that because in our society today, I mean, what do we do from the moment we get up? We get on our phone, we get on our computers, we check our emails, we check social media. We have to constantly be in touch with our coworkers and our friends and our family, nonstop text messages and phone calls and whatnot. And nobody really sits around and does nothing anymore. That's one thing that, like back during the snowstorm here in Texas, we had rolling blackouts or total blackouts depending on the area. And when the power was out, I mean, I would just sit and think. I realized, wow, I have not done this in forever. Just sit there and do nothing.
Right.
Like I don't know if you ever watched Nick Fuentes, but he talked about that once about how 10 years ago, people just they weren't always constantly doing things. People would think. They'd get on the bus and they'd start thinking about things in their life.
Right.
Like just the other day, I went out to lunch with my grandmother and we went back to her house and we just kind of sat in her living room for like 10 minutes, didn't even talk to each other, just kind of took in the silence.
Right. That is a big thing that I think younger people cannot do. Right? That silence is scary.
Right. Everybody's deathly afraid of awkward silences. That's something I try to work on.
Yeah.
Like like the other day, I was in my apologetics club on campus, which it's a great organization. I often
What
feel
is
a
it?
little bit
Ratio Christi?
yes, actually. I was in one of our meetings and I went on like a good 2 minute rant about the sexual revolution because we were talking about how sexuality has been so distorted
Right.
in the modern Western society. And I said a lot of things, about things like pornography and whatnot, how it's really warped the tastes of the modern man. I'm not going to go into detail, obviously, but
Right.
you
Right.
could name just about any non-traditional immoral act, and it's been normalized through pornography. And when I got done with my rant, nobody said anything for like 20 seconds. I don't know if it's because I was just dropping too much on the normies at once or if it was because they were just kind of taken aback by it. I don't know. But it was interesting to see that because I stood there for like 15, 20 seconds. I thought, I don't mind the silence, but I'm just thinking, like, this is not normal in our society. What's going on here?
Right. No, I'm totally with you. It's I think it, again, as I try to highlight and bring it to people's attention, is Marshall McLuhan and how the technologies and the mediums that we're using are altering our senses and our sensory ratios and the way in which we take in information. I think that silence too is in most people who haven't developed that sort of interior self is like an absence of something, when really, just like our theology of Christ, to get closer to God, you have to actually take things off. You have to give things up, right? It's a shedding process. That that's what the whole thinking is. The silence, like you can't. Again, when I do my streams, every topic or most topics, I sit in silence, if you will, and I think about it for at least an hour, usually 2 to 3 hours, and I try to form the structure because I have to be in that silence to have a continued thought process, right?
That reminds me. I don't browse 4chan anymore, but I saw a screen cap from it once about a dopamine detox where what you do is you do no computers, no phones, no video games, no junk food, no music even, no music of any sort.
Wow.
And you do that for a week. And in that week, when you're all on your own. Oh, also, if you can, you need to also remove friends for a week, family if you even can. It's a very extreme, but the
Wow.
results are very interesting to say the least.
Wow.
But you do this for a week and you replace all these bad habits with good habits. So instead of browsing Facebook for 3 hours, you could put in maybe an hour of piano and then
Right. Reading
something else,
reading
reading
is the
more
big one for
books.
me that I noticed that
Yes.
I feel when I deliberately get off the social media stuff because it's like tied to what I do, so it becomes too engrossed in like regular activities. But when I get away from the stuff that distracts me and I fill that back in with reading, I always feel like I'm more empowered in my life and I'm moving closer to wherever it is I'm trying to go.
Right. I really relate to that because I lasted 3 days. I need to try it again. But in those 3 days, I tore through Orthodoxy and the Kingdom of Satan. And that book is like 250 pages, which
Wow.
I don't know how big of a reader you are, but I tend to remember, wow, I'm actually kind of a reader when I'm
When you want to,
not
yeah.
on, yeah, when I'm not on YouTube and Discord all day. I'm actually,
Right.
I'm
Hey,
pretty,
hey, brother,
pretty big into
we
reading.
got we got three other people waiting in the
Oh yeah,
Zoom.
sure.
Um, so I don't mean to cut you off. This has been a great conversation. Is there anything else you'd like to say before leaving people? I just
Well, I guess I would just highlight what you said once. I've always remembered, it's always stuck with me is that motivation is a false idol and that you always need to be dedicated. It doesn't matter if you don't want to do it.
right,
What matters is if you do do it.
right. That's the only thing that matters. Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Well,
This was pretty
brother, thank
fun.
you so much for calling.
You're welcome.
This has been insightful. It was a pleasure to meet you again. God bless you and
God bless you too,
your
man.
catechism and your economy homework. Hope that goes well.
Screw macroeconomics.
Well, anyways, take it easy, brother. God bless you and your
You too,
family. Have a
brother.
wonderful Saturday night, man.
You too. God bless you.
God bless. All right. Next person we have is Kendra. She
Hi,
is,
Patrick.
hey, Kendra. She is a personal friend of mine and fellow member at St. Mary of Egypt Orthodox Church in Greenwood, Indiana. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good. Just trying to relax.
Right. How are you
Really
and
busy
Gina and
day.
Charles doing?
We're doing good. We actually Gina and I went to Bobby's house today and had that retreat.
Oh, is that today? Right, right, right.
Yeah, it was really good.
So
So,
the ladies got together at church today.
yeah.
All right. And how'd the retreat go? Did you girls do a Bible study or something?
No, it was Mother Gabriel. They had a retreat and we just sat there and listened to it.
Oh, all right. What's Charles up to?
In the living room.
All right. Well, tell him I said hi. Oh, I see him in the chat.
Yeah. I told him that you were on tonight, and I was like, okay, might as well just stop in, say hi to my friend.
Absolutely. So it's
Yeah.
good that so Gina and you guys are all doing well. You guys going to be at liturgy in the morning, I'm sure.
I'm going to try, but I'm going to try and be there.
Right. Well, I will be there for sure, and I'm going to be having Father bless my new icon. I got a Saint John, the theologian icon. And I
Awesome.
got a bunch more coming in, so I can't wait to put those up on the wall behind me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll definitely be there. I can't wait till April 6th. I don't know if you saw, but the governor of Indiana is taking away the mask mandate, so we can perform and celebrate liturgy like we used to.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just for Marion County or if it's for what counties yet.
My understanding was the whole state, but I could be wrong. But
I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
anyways, um, is there anything you wanted to get into particular or say?
Um, Nothing really. I mean, I've had I mean, as you know, I've had a very interesting life into Orthodoxy, and
Mm-hmm.
when I first came to St. Mary, I was just like, okay, this is just weird. I had never been in an Orthodox church in my life. And I was just like, okay, I'm home. And
That is the feeling, yeah.
yeah,
It's like
it is.
something when you go to the liturgy, it just feels right. There's something that it does feel like you've kind of found home again.
Yeah, yeah, because I was raised a Nazarene all my life. So
Right.
it's like when I told my grandparents that I was going to become Orthodox, my grandpa was like, well, good luck.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like don't like orthodoxy for those Protestant reasons, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Um, so, gosh dang, my account's getting ready to. You know how when you don't have the paid for the Zoom meeting, you can only do 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have
that's fine.
mine's getting ready to close. I only have a few more minutes. I'm gonna have to tell everybody I'm gonna have to create a new session and a new link to give to people. So sorry, the three people who are
Oh,
waiting. Sorry, Ed Davies. Sorry, Matthew Dean and Gabriel Tobel. You guys will be in order. Again, I'm just going to have to create a new meeting and then post that link in the live chat. This one's getting ready to close because I have the free version of Zoom. I apologize.
all
But
right, Patrick. I'll see you tomorrow.
all right, see you, Kendra. God bless you guys. Bye,
God
Gina.
bless.
Bye, Charles. Have a good one. All right. Hey, Ed, Matthew, Gabriel. I'm going to be posting that link right in the live chat. Just let me restart. Let me restart and close this real quick. Real quick. Sorry. Everybody that's waiting, I apologize. Just give me 1 second. I have the free version. It's a bear, I know. So you only get 40 minutes before Zoom closes your video meeting. So let me open that back up again. So now, okay. Okay. Okay, so Ed Davies was the first one. So let me put this back in the chat. Ed, you are first, brother. Here is the new link. Click that, guys, and I'm waiting on whoever shows up. It was Ed, Matthew, and then Gabriel. From what I saw, that was the correct order. So just hop on in, guys, and I will let you in. Ed was next. Ed Davies was next. So just go ahead and click that link, guys, and hop on in. There's Ed. Let's admit him. All right, Ed is now joining. Come on, Ed. Mm-hmm. Hey, Ed, can you connect your microphone, brother? It doesn't show that you have a connected audio source. There it goes. Now it shows you got a microphone. You hear me?
Hello?
Hey, brother, what's going on?
You can hear me?
Yep.
Oh, hey, what's up, man?
What's going on, Ed? How you doing?
Nothing much. Nothing much. Good. How about yourself?
Hey, chilling, man. Saturday night. What about
Yeah, no
yourself? What you
doubt.
up to?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Just wanted to call in, say I appreciate the work that you do. I'm fairly new to the channel. I found you because I was looking into Orthodoxy. I'm kind of stuck in between Catholicism and Orthodoxy.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, I've actually been stuck between the two for quite some time now. I'd say a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Wow.
Can't really figure out which one I want to go to because the Catholic Church that I go to right now, It's pretty based, you know, and
Right.
the Orthodox churches that I've visited have, well, not been really. So
Right.
yeah, it's kind of a hard situation and stuff like that.
Well, I can certainly understand that perspective in regards to sort of the baseness of the parishes. That was, uh, I know for a lot of us younger guys, that's what we're looking for. And I don't doubt that maybe you found a much more based Catholic parish where the faithful aren't fearful of COVID or more
Yeah, man.
submissive to the state's demands than to God's. However, I mean, you can just look at the Eucharist. I mean, for like so when we do the Eucharist, what does the bread represent? It represents the body. And then the question is, did Christ's body rise? It did. And so the idea of not even using leavened bread, which again, that's the symbolic point of the Eucharist. It's like, well, right there. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the fun. So the point is the Eucharist. It's a sacramental tradition. You don't even use unleavened bread, or you used unleavened bread. I'm sorry, you don't even use leavened bread. Not, and I'm not trying to cast. I got plenty of Catholic friends, so brother, I don't have any hard feelings to you. But my point is, when you get deeper into these things, for me, those things bothered me, right? Because that's just not consistent.
100%.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, 100%. I definitely hear you and stuff like that. It's just, if I'm going to be honest with
Go
you,
ahead.
um, a lot of it is subjective with me
Okay.
personally.
Uh huh.
It more boils down to personal preferences at the moment or whatever. I just really haven't been able to find a decent Orthodox church, and on
Right.
top of that, um, the liturgies I have attended, have been beautiful. The icons and all that. The Orthodox Church, very very beautiful things, and the whole theology behind it makes a lot of sense. But it's just for me personally. I don't know. It's kind of hard to just kind of abandon Catholicism when it's just so rooted in my blood and everything like that. And like I said, the parish right now that I go to is pretty based or
Right.
whatever. So it's very much a personal situation with me. And there are some times when I kind of flip back and forth between Thomism and Eastern Orthodoxy theology and stuff like that. It's rough situation. But at the moment, I'm kind of just focused on my own spiritual journey and
Right.
trying to get closer with Christ and stuff
Absolutely.
like that. Especially given with these times,
Right.
I've kind of developed a zero tolerance policy when it comes to just the subversion and the degeneracy. I'm one of those guys who just can't watch any sports anymore. And
Dude, I'm with you. I can't. I can't. It's like, and I feel bad because it's one of the things that my dad and I used to bond. We watch the games, but
yeah,
just watch. March Madness is going on. That's here in Indianapolis, so that's here. I'm not technically inside Indianapolis. I'm outside of it, south of it, but that's the what's going on in the city, and I can hardly watch it. It's like the commercials, the propaganda, the just the nonsense of literally watching people play basketball. One ref has a mask on, the other ref doesn't have a mask on. Then you look in this, it's just like the complicity to irrationality, and then the propaganda. And I'm not going to get into what I'm talking about, but just commercials in general. And the way that they depict families and couples, it's just it's too much for
yeah,
me. I
man.
can't deal with it. I just have to have it out of my life, or it irritates me too much.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm like resorting back to like 18th century forms of entertainment. I don't have Netflix anymore. I don't after the whole cutie situation. I mean, that's a bit much. I'm not gonna give you however much Netflix is, $12 to see that kind of garbage being promoted on there. And yeah, I don't even turn on the television because every commercial is
It's horrendous.
SJW nonsense,
Yeah,
uh,
it's
and all
horrendous.
kinds of stuff like that. So I just kind of read books and stuff now and go online, and even the online community of Orthodoxy and just Christianity in general. It's just a bit ridiculous sometimes with some of the personalities that you encounter. So it's kind of a tough predicament. Uh,
Right.
but things are starting to open up again around here where I'm at, the
What
New
state you
York,
in?
Jersey area, and yeah, so that's looking a little bit better. But yeah, no, the past year has been kind of annoying, man. Just kind of confined into your homes, can't really do much, can't really watch anything.
Wow. Brother,
Even
we
the
just got.
gyms.
I just want to share while you're on here. We got a super chat from George's Journal. Thank you very much, brother. He threw in 24.99, and he said, "Thanks for being a light in the dark. Orthodoxy is my heritage that I rediscovered, and I think all I want to pursue now. I am a loser at 35, and health problems have kind of wrecked me, but I feel like Orthodoxy is calling." Well, brother, you are not a loser, despite whatever has happened to you before. Thank you very much for that contribution. And Orthodoxy is calling you because Christ is calling everybody. And so, if I or anybody has said anything on this channel that has helped you rediscover God, God bless you, brother. God bless you. Thank you for your support. And I think all of us, let's everybody keep George in your prayers tonight. One of our Orthodox brothers, he's having a hard time. That his perspective of himself and his life turns around. So I think that's something we could all do. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, brother. I just wanted to share.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. It's all good. Um, let me ask you a question if you
Feel
don't
free.
mind. Regarding gyms in your area, have like, do you have to work out with the mask on? Like, what's the story with that? Have they
hmm
been shut down in your
Um,
area?
so I do not have to work out with a mask.
Maybe.
Indiana hasn't been as bad as some of the other states. I go to a Christian gym. It is inside city limits in regards to Marion County, which is the county of Indianapolis. So they are obviously, as true with anywhere, the bigger cities are way more strict on this stuff. But no, I don't have to wear a mask working out. It's absolutely nonsense. Nobody here does that. I mean, there are a couple people. I don't know of any gyms besides the Planet Fitnesses. It's like the really big gyms like Planet Fitness. They try to still force people. But I go to Anytime Fitness, which is run by local people, and they're totally against all that stuff. So no mask. And then the Christian gym I go to for my fitness videos, technically you have to wear one to get into the building because of city mandates. But once you're in, you can take it off, and
Yeah.
there's no restrictions once you're especially inside the actual gym. So
Man, that's amazing. All the gyms around here, you have to wear
what
the
state are
mask.
you in?
New York, New Jersey. I kind
Oh,
of hop back and forth between both.
okay, okay, gotcha.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to resort to calisthenics and stuff like that the past over a year now. I think it's been right.
Yeah, yeah. It's over a year at this point.
Yeah, I'm not gonna work out with no mask on, dude.
No,
I can't do
no,
that.
you shouldn't.
Breathing is
Absolutely should
very
not.
important.
You absolutely should not. But brother, we got three more people. Another person just joined to try to join the Zoom. Is there anything you want to leave with people before hopping off?
No, I just want to say, man, I really appreciate the work
Well,
that you do,
thank you, brother.
and
I really
it's
appreciate the
very
kind words.
beneficial. And yeah, man, keep it up, keep it up. It was a pleasure to be on here, and God bless, man.
Well, thank you very much, Ed. I really appreciate it. God bless you and your family, your journey, and just hopefully you can be a light for other people. It just sounds like you're very courageous and you see what's going on and you're trying to be sort of a pillar for people around you. So,
Trying, man.
I mean, that's all that we can do, right? I mean,
Yeah,
and luckily we have each other. Then we have these small online communities of like-minded people. But we have a ripple effect, all of us, with the people that are around us. So God bless
yeah,
you, man. Continue doing what you're doing, and God bless your family.
yeah. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on, man.
No problem. Thanks for calling in.
All right, no problem. See you later.
Bye. All right, next one is Matthew Dean. Matthew Dean Allison. What's going on, brother? Matthew
Hey,
Dean, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
great. How about yourself?
Doing great, brother. What you up to tonight?
Oh man. Well, I gotta say, I fancy myself a philosopher. I've been speculating today, thinking about a lot of things, and I landed on the video of you and the gentleman who hosts the Rooster's Crow. And I
Yes.
gotta say, my attention was captivated because, as Ed said, your prior caller, I too find myself between a rock and a hard place.
Mhm.
And by that I mean the rock of Logos and the hard place of Catholic scholasticism.
Mm.
There's the pendulum swing of virtue on both sides because
Right.
you have the encyclopedia. I could go on. And so I've been thinking through that, but I'm also an artist. So it cascades down into, I've been thinking a lot about the energia, like the energies of God.
Right.
That to me has been the deep pull in my spirit towards orthodoxy.
Ooh.
I'm not a catechumen. I started on the
What
West
did you?
Coast
What
and
was
I-
your spiritual beliefs? Can you kind of give me a framework for how you're approaching all this stuff? Where have you been? Where did you grow up? What's your angle on all this?
Yeah. So my accident of birth, right, like where I happened to be born
Right.
and grow up, was in a Lutheran milieu, a
Okay.
Protestant milieu. I was Lutheran, so I was high church.
Okay.
And then when I went to university, I began looking for independent friends and souls, and wound up in a Baptist denomination where, to the credit of those around me, we wanted to go to some kind of source. We found ourselves in the Institutes of Christian Theology by, I forgot his name, Calvin, John Calvin.
Yep.
And we were reading it line by line. Of course, we got ourselves swept in the big wave of sovereignty,
Mm-hmm.
where even the atoms of my skin were preordained before the foundation of the earth, let
Right.
alone my free will.
Right.
And then I went.
Which
in
you
quick
see
order.
then, you see even in Protestantism, then the conceptual basis for materialistic determinism, right? Again, they're going to frame that entirely differently, but the logical framework is already there in Calvin. Totally different worldview, but the idea of determinism, which was, we had atomists back in the Greek philosophical traditions too, but yeah. So continue on. Didn't want to interrupt.
No, I'm glad you interrupted me. Feel free to interrupt, especially with that input. That was very stimulating. So from there, Soren Kierkegaard saved me from the shelf.
Oh, okay.
So I was a student at a university, first generation student. So I had some weight on my shoulders to produce a degree and move in a career. But I mean, if my atoms were ordered before the foundation of the earth and I didn't have free will, I mean, what was a degree? It was nothing. It was a fiction. So I had my nous, which I learned from Orthodoxy. I had this yearning for the truth. So I went where it made sense to go to me, namely the library. And one night, near 12 o'clock, I walked upstairs and I was moving around the philosophy section and found Fear and Trembling. And I had never, at 19, never heard anyone speak of, I would say it was a phenomenological experience, reading reading the translated prose. I don't know what he said in the Danish, but I thought, can someone talk about God? Can God be so wonderful? I thought, and I mean that in the very German sense of wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Like, could life be so epic?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I went to my small Baptist cult, and it was right. Our cult leader was John Calvin.
Right.
He was our organizing center. We read all the Bible from it. So I went back to my cult, and I couldn't believe the atoms were preordained. And so then I quit school and worked in various jobs and began writing very intensely. But that individualistic, idiosyncratic path was isolating. So to your point about the materialistic reduction, I'd love to hear more about that, because like existentialism, unfettered from tradition, brought me to an isolated atomism.
Right.
Like nihilism, I would say, the doomer meme, et cetera, et cetera.
Which is funny because it resides somewhere between existentialism and determinism, right? Because it's like those are technically antagonistic worldviews. They can't coincide, yet they do for so many people.
Well,
like, again,
I mean, I felt the tension of a dialectic trying to work itself out of human freedom.
yeah.
I want there to be free will. No metaphysical system that I was aware of could provide it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the immanent soul had to find some way to manifest its reality of freedom.
Right.
And so that tension, yes.
Wow. No, I'm with you. And it's so. Where are you at right now? So are you okay? So
Yeah.
I continue on with your journey, because now I can see that you are much more of a critical thinker, and you basically intellectually getting yourself out of Protestantism.
Precisely, bootstrapping out of the bootstrap, right? Like Protestantism is a bootstrap and then bootstrap, which thank God for Kierkegaard, because it was, I see him as a zenith, a certain kind of zenith in Protestant, the Protestant anima.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So then, but I was sitting in a an apartment in Lincoln, Nebraska, at my acme of isolation. I had a full-time job in a call center, completely anonymous, but I was writing at night and reading Derrida and all these people. I was really trying to be the niche of the niche of the niche.
Right.
And it was like, it was consistent.
Right.
And it got me to the nihilism and boredom. And then I thought, man, this is not a way for a 20-something-year-old to live. And I got an opportunity to go to the West Coast. So I moved there, gave up everything, saw the beach and the ocean for the first time. I'm from the Midwest, so it was quite a big deal. And I walked along the shore and I recited Keats and Romanticism, the Romantic poets. I'm into this stuff. Like Kierkegaard taught me, you can't read poetry. You have to poeticize existence.
Right.
That's the only way to be free.
Right.
That's what I believed. So I walked along the shore and said Keats, and I had a restaurant job. And then as I was driving down the 101, because I thought, you can't go to a church. That's a Protestant. And I can't just read books, because that brought me to Lincoln, Nebraska. But I'm driving down the 101, and for some reason, thank God, a little thought passed through my mind. 1 in 8 Americans live in California. That means there's 1 of 8 of everything the U.S. has to offer here, which is to say, there's a form of Christianity I probably couldn't get over there that's over here. What might that be? I went through Protestant milieu. I'll never go to a Catholic church. Oh, wait, the Eastern something. Google, it was 14 miles away in San Luis Obispo. In God's providence, it was locked, couldn't go in, but I walked around the building. I was brought to it and then repulsed. I knew there was something, and then eventually walked in St. Andrew's at St. Louis Obispo. And I saw the liturgy. I saw someone kiss the gold book of the gospel. And that iconic moment of human flesh and a real icon.
Right. And they're not worshiping the book, right? They're kissing scripture, but they're not worshiping a book. That's not their God. We're Protestantism.
You know what passed through my mind as a mantra at that moment, to your point? I immediately knew, and I said to myself subvocally when I watched her kiss the golden book, the book has already been written. And to a novelist, this was the fire burning up the chaff of my Summa Theologica. Yeah, it was disorienting and disarming and terrifying, but I knew this is Odyssey. This is Homer, or this is Ulysses coming home. Except no one recognizes him. Mm. I didn't recognize. I recognized the truth of orthodoxy, but I didn't recognize orthodoxy. Right. Because my sensibilities had been so jaundiced, right, and made less critical by the blunting of all the Protestant fragmentation, that I didn't know how to see what was right in front of me. I still don't. I'm clearing it up, but I think that's one of the things that Protestantism does, is it takes away the plain text
Right.
of perception. And so I saw the truth, but I didn't see orthodoxy. And therefore, I had to leave. I'm almost done. I went up to the Bay Area and joined, through the grace of God, a Russian Orthodox church. So in St. Andrews was Greek. Then I went to the Bay and I was in a Russian Orthodox church.
Where at in the Bay Area?
What?
Where at in the Bay Area? That's where I used to live.
Yeah, so it's near Berkeley. It's St. John's Russian Orthodox Church.
Okay, yep. I know.
It's near the BART.
Yep. I'm familiar.
Yeah, and there was a catechism class with some other guys from Berkeley, and there were, I think, 5 of us. It's a smaller church. And do you ever go? Do you ever go to that?
Yeah, I've been.
Wow. So, oh my goodness, small world.
It is.
And
Orthodox, you'll find as you get deeper and deeper into Orthodoxy, it is such a small world. It's like all over the world, yet it's so small. It's incredible. Like the synchronicities, the providence, it's off the charts.
And then COVID swept the shore of California. So I moved back to South Dakota, where I was raised, and got a job, and thought, well, I need to take all this and do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
I joined Catholicism. I went to the RCIA, and I saw the presentation, the adoration. I sat through it, and I was ready. And I even thought I heard a voice, man. I don't want to go into it right now, but I thought I heard, and maybe I did. I don't know. And then there's this almost like I was empowered to do it, and then it was taken away. It took weeks, but then it was taken away, and I decided not to go through with it. So I didn't. And then you said small world. A buddy of mine called me from California that I attended the Russian Orthodox Church with, and we began talking again. And the priest even called me back 8 months later, just out of the blue. And I laughed. I said, do you know that last week I stopped going to the RCA classes? No, I didn't know that. How could I have known? We haven't talked. And so there's an Orthodox church in town where I live, and I've been building up my courage to go back. It's been 2 weeks since I stopped going to the RCA, and I think I'm going to go to the liturgy tomorrow and sit in it up to the point of the communion, and then leave. Because at the Russian Orthodox Church, they were pretty. They didn't ask people to leave, but during the liturgy, as you know, they do say all catechumens depart.
Right.
So I tend to depart.
Right. No, in each parish is a little bit different. Like our parish, when that section comes up in the liturgy, of course, it's still performed, but we only have 2 catechumens in our church, and our church is very small. But I get your point, man. That is a beautiful, beautiful story. So your Orthodox journey's really been in the last 2 years. Then you're that in Southern California, and then in the Bay Area, and now kind of finding a home in South Dakota, a spiritual home, inside of geographical home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would ask you this, because you mentioned something at the Rooster's Crow. I won't take too much of your time. We can stop whenever, but I really wanted to ask you, because I respect the database of your references on the Rooster's Crow podcast. You mentioned something about semiotics and going to a deeper analysis. Yeah. So I tend to mediate my concepts and categories through form, aesthetic form, for better or worse. I probably got it through Kierkegaard's unbalanced view of everything.
Okay.
So I took some screenwriting classes, and I really pushed into what is a screenplay. And I think there's a profound connection between the screenplay as form for distributing and economizing language and image to the lack of focus in the West. I know that's a huge claim, and I can't possibly provide evidence, but there's this sense of the connection versus, and you mentioned this in the Rooster's Crow podcast, a return to the word. And of course there's the logos, but then the written word, the alphabet,
right.
the non-visual, but right. The referential. And so I thought in terms of historical dramas, long-winded novels like Les Miserables, and that versus the screenplay, which is super condensed and concise and almost doesn't have the luxury of reference. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of that.
Well, when you just mentioned the condensing of the screenplay, I immediately thought of a sort of condensing of the emotional spectrum that one can go on. So that is a major limitation on the production quality. But at the same time, we're also well, isn't that so funny? Actually, it brings up a really funny idea because we're talking about literacy tying to the elevation of the visual sensory apparatus. And so when you're talking about a screenplay, you would think, well, that's putting the thing into the visual domain, right? Which it probably is. They're still performing. You're not doing it on the TV necessarily. So it's a little bit of a different medium, of course. But it is so funny how there's something there's a cognitive expansion by going into vistas and landscapes through language by reading, right? That cognitively expands your imagination. Where when you consume the image that's already presented for you, even though you can still have incredible experiences, insights, appreciate art. To me, there's a sort of self-limiting there, right? Because you're taking the package that's given to you. Maybe your interpretation of a particular line or the descriptions of somebody's face through written word, you've painted it a little bit different. So when people are then deeper readers, you building the visual apparatus from an Orthodox perspective is still your nous. So, right. So by getting into these realms, even the person who's like looking at the play, the screenplay, there's a lot that we don't see, right? When we're dark in news, we talk about this all the time. You literally cannot see truth as present in the world when you have a darkened news. And so I think there's something interesting, like you're tying with the word, the logos, reading language, creating cognitive landscapes, right? The oneness, Christ talks about making your mind or the eye of your mind, right? He's not talking about pineal gland, he's talking about the nous. And so I don't know. I think that would be something, but we have to be careful also Orthodox theology regarding the imagination, because that's where the spiritual warfare takes place. And so I actually just had a conversation. I think Keenan actually might still be in the chat, but Keenan and I talked privately and mentioned about the logismy. And so in Orthodox theology, where is the spiritual warfare, right? Where is the battleground? And the battleground's technically mental images. So that is, if you're not aware of the mental images, you're not aware of how you can be bombarded by the evil one and his dominions. So his minions use mental images. That's how it stirs the passions immediately to get one then to enact towards the passions. So the monks and the hesychists, they're all about then guarding your mental images, because that affects the light inside your body.
That's something to think about, because especially given the meaning of the word stanza, a room, and how poetry by line is broken into parts and compounds,
right,
and spaced in that way, and margination, and you talking about things having some protection, a hedge around them. That I know in myself, one of my forms of asceticism that I'm not looking forward to is disciplining the imagination.
Yes. Because for me, the imagination, that's what kills me in regards to much of my sinful behavior. Because I am somebody who likes to sit and think. So I live so much of my life in my head. And therefore, I have a lot of mental images that I deal with on a daily basis, just thinking and doing all this stuff. And I am that's how I get excited to do these streams, as I start going down these rabbit holes and this passionate bringing up forth of thoughts and images and all this stuff. So I am very susceptible to that stuff, and I know regarding to lust and sex and just a lot of different things. I have to be wary on that. So I always have to kind of be on pins and needles, just watching myself. I know I have terrible habits.
Well, Mr. David, thank you for all you do. I appreciate your work, and I will continue to follow your channel.
Well, thank you, brother. Thanks for calling in. Very insightful, going back and forth. I really appreciate it. So God bless you, brother. God bless your family, and I hope you enjoy liturgy tomorrow, because I will be there as well.
All right, then. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, brother. God bless.
God bless.
All right. Okay. Next one is Gabriel Tobal. Gabriel is coming in. Gee, sorry, brother, for the wait. Gabriel, looks like you're connected, brother, with your video and your audio. Can you just unmute your mic?
Oh, all right.
Hey,
There,
brother, what's
here.
going on?
Hey, man, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Sorry for the long wait, man.
No, no worries, no worries. You get in late, you play late. That's how it works.
What's going on, brother? How you doing tonight?
Doing all right, doing all right. Yeah, let's see here. Bring up a good story. Hey, here's a good idea. You know what stream that I really like? It was your stream about how Protestantism brought up and made capitalism.
Yes.
That stream kind of, actually it's kind of like a moment of synchronicity because John Heers, brother of Father Peter Heers, is running like a pod, he calls it a pod course, and he's going over that same exact topic. And it was like a double dose where in his pod course we hit the same topic, and then your stream hits it, but it has a different take on it.
Right.
And it just really drove home to me in a personal context, because it made me realize that I'm a for lack of a better term, like I'm a filthy capitalist in the way that I think.
Oh, dude, me too. I absolutely am. I am so rooted in that worldview, especially with the idea of my work and like feeling guilty if I'm not working as much. I mean, it's like, it's a big deal for me. And like my own self-perceived image of myself is tied to the idea of hard work equating with sort of some type of value to myself.
Yeah, it's a virtue to work. I mean, what really hit home to me was, I don't know whether, see, I got this mixed up, but there was a Protestant sect, maybe the both of you guys mentioned this, but there's a Protestant sect that they were being persecuted by the nearby Christians because they wouldn't stop working. Like they just kept on working, and the other Christians are like, "What are you guys doing? Stop it!" But to them, I don't know who it was, the Mennonites or something like that. But so like they just kept working 24/7, and the nearby Christians like broke their tools to get them to stop.
Yeah, it was the Methodists.
Yeah, the Methodist, and it's a real big clash between old world values and new world values.
Right.
Where the new world is, if you're not a constant robot working, you're a piece of garbage.
Right.
And it's on a personal level, what I recently decided to pick up, and just today I quit. I picked up a second job, because I'm just like, hey, look, more money doesn't ever hurt, right? And hey, if I don't give up Sunday and Saturday night, I can still be a good Christian, But what happens when you work two jobs is like you don't want to pray, you just want to like veg out and die.
Right.
So, and like, look, if you didn't care about your nightly and morning prayers, like as a secular world, like, yeah, of course you can give your life to two soul crushing jobs, not one, but two.
Right.
You can get more of your fiat currency into your bank account and throw it at, goodness knows what.
Right.
And act like you're a good, I guess to borrow Tristan's term, you're a good global citizen. That's
in that idea of like you're talking about two soul crushing jobs within that theology of that Protestant ethic is that that's their form of asceticism. They don't have monastics. They don't have real asceticism. So their Protestant asceticism is taking on those two jobs with like absolute determination and perseverance. And that is you taking on what God is giving you.
I gotta tell you, man, like my training is in accounting, and I'm gonna dox myself. I'm Doorman 360, by the way.
Oh, hey,
Um,
buddy.
it's happening, boss. Over here at Jersey. Yeah, my training is in accounting, and an old mentor of mine hit me up. He's like, dude, like, look, I got some supplementary income on the line for you. Are you down for it? I'm like, bro, are you kidding me? Expand my resume,
Yeah,
get more hours,
I know.
get more money. And like this, like I'm taking the mindset like before I became Orthodox. And then all of a sudden, John Here's course began over at Watar, and
Uh-huh.
you did your stream, and it's hitting me, and it's like, basically I walked into this thing and, oh, this is a blessing, right? And then I realized, oh no, this is actually a test. Like it's like you're like, no, you have to understand that you need to leave behind the old mentality of being an accountant, which by the way means you give your life to your stinking job, which is, there's a reason why the accountant is the quintessential like archetypical format of the soulless wagey getting cagey, get to work, don't be lazy kind of meme.
Right.
It's just you sit in a cubicle and you drain your life away sitting in front of a computer, going blind, and going over the most menial, stupid things. I mean, look, accounting has its value, but it's just like it ain't worth selling your life to, and and when you're an Orthodox Christian, it's interfere with the Christian with your lifestyle, and you're someone like me who doesn't have a wife and kids. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
Right. And without the wife and kids, this is what even I find myself falling victim to. It's like sometimes, again, I even reading the theology, trying to go to church. I attend the services. I'm trying to do what's right in my life. And then I still think, you know what, maybe if I just make a little bit more money, I just become a little bit more successful. I just work a little bit harder. Then I can get the things that I want. Right. Then I'll get that chick. Then I'll finally get what it is I've been working for. And it's like, again, that's the wrong mentality. That's me making it happen, not letting God work in my life, not me, kind of, it's almost, Jesus take the wheel. I don't mean to be so ridiculous, but it's like you got to do that as opposed to like this weird idea of like go getting it all the time.
There's definitely like a balance there. Like you can't be like laying on the grass, looking at the sky. I'm like, all right, God, I'm ready for my money.
Right.
It's like, but at the same time, like I actually told this to my dad. I told him,
hey,
look,
Gabriel, we have less than 60 seconds. The thing's getting ready to close. I'm going to throw a new link in there, and you'll be the first one back in. So let's just continue talking right where we're at.
Yep.
But I'll just throw a new link in the live chat. This one's getting ready to close in like 20 seconds.
All right.
All right. Bye. George. All right, brother. Whew. Sorry about that. I need to just buy the $15 a month Zoom package, but
hopping calls ain't the worst thing in the world, and that's $15 you can save. You don't have a producer. That's Michelle Malkin's favorite line. I love that line. But what were we talking about? Yes, Grassy Knoll making money. Here's the thing, right? Because look, if you read the life of Saint Anthony, who's the great Saint Anthony the Great. He points out, look, those who don't eat don't work. So even when he went out to the desert, he's like, I got to do something besides just pray, right? So I phrased it this way, and I told this to my dad when I explained my situation, getting 2 jobs. I said, every man needs a job, but he doesn't need 2 jobs. You got
great point. No, that should be that's somewhere in scripture, I'm sure. I just don't. I can't recall the verse at the moment.
It's just like you gotta do something. Even the monastics have to do something besides prayer. They have to make soap. They have to make candles. They have to translate works, yada yada yada. Learn a second language, all that fun stuff. They can't just pray and be angelic beings because that ain't what we are yet anyway.
Right.
So so we gotta make our money, but there's gotta be time of the day where you're just like, even if I just mentioned wife and kids, okay, sure, you have extreme cases where you got to provide for a big family or you're the head of the family, but like you gotta have, if you can help it, like you gotta at least see your kid, like see his face,
Right.
see the wife. You can't just have like, oh, I have a wife and kids in like another country that I see on Zoom once every 6 months. It's like,
Right.
we're not here just to work. We can't fall into that Protestant ethics, and we can't be monks living in the office, making money, counting
Right.
our cash. Yes, how angelic it is for Protestants to be looking at their cash account and be like, oh yes, I'm so holy. It's literally like the Church of Joel Osteen, man. It's
Right.
like,
Well, then, so let me ask you a question then, brother, because this is where I think about. It's like I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
Where then is the point of comfortability? Because for me, again, in this idealistic world that I'm trying to create, which isn't going very well, so I probably should stop anyways. But I want to make enough money that my wife doesn't have to work, that we can have multiple children, that there's a homestead, that, again, we live a little bit more sustainably. And so it's like, for me, for that to happen, it feels like, and I could be totally wrong, and I don't know, people are probably going to have things to say about myself, but it feels like I'm going to have to make close to six figures.
Yeah. No, in
so
America,
it's like I don't want to be a millionaire, but at the same time, I got to hustle till I can make that much money so I can provide a space for a woman to be able to be the best mother she can be. Like, it's literally the protection and the providing. I have to do that.
Yeah, I still remember your stream where you talked about your dream house, with I think it was like a second floor with a gym with I could imagine like some kind of new age, like not new age, but like high end, like this custom built house out in the prairies. It was pretty ambitious, and it's in America it is about hustling to get the American dream.
Right.
But to quote I couldn't find the video where the guy says it, but there's an Orthodox like homesteader. I think that his name is Paisios, and he said the American dream is a nightmare. Sometimes not getting the things that we want is the best thing that can happen to us. Like,
right.
One of the things that I've coming to accept, more and more is, maybe I will have to be poor moving forward. And in America, it's anathema, right? But like the Bishop of Cyprus, I think his Neophytos Morphou, he mentions like, look, in the future, like Christians are going to be ostracized. They won't be able to partake in transactions like the normal people will do.
Coming.
And they're going to be poor. And he says, don't be afraid. The poverty will make you humble. I'm going to give you an anecdote. I'm going to be that guy. Give you an anecdote of my grandfather who raised my father over in DR. The guy had like 6 kids. They were dirt poor. Now my parents, my father, came over to this country to get money, and guess what he got for it? No grandkids. He's not going to get grandkids, most likely, from between me and my brother. But if you look at everyone from his family who came over and had kids who were raised in the United States, so I'm a second generation immigrant over here. We're not having kids. Like, look, the kids in my family, the toll balls who were raised in the United States, it's like, I was talking to my cousin and we pointed out, we both had this freak out moment. We're like, dude, the toll balls came to America to die out, but you know what they do have? They got lots of money. They're all professionals, but something in the culture is causing us to fail at reproducing for one reason or another.
Right.
I have an objective of joining a monastery one of these days. But if a woman comes my way, I'm a weak man. I might succumb. But
we're definitely weak men. But when you're talking about your own family, the immediate thing that kind of jumped in my mind was life being an uncreated energy of God, and so the scripture always talks about God versus mammon. right? And
Yeah.
so if the pursuit is mammon, life is going to have to sort of dissipate as the mammon elevates, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, no, it's as a relation. So like, look, you can still have like the white pill of my story was like, look,
Yeah, I'm waiting for it because I'm.
yeah, the white pill of my story is twofold because there's a white pill and a black pill in there, right? The white pill of it was, look, my grandfather's farm when he grew up on the farm was dirt poor. It was dirt poor, and he had 6 kids. Like, you can get, as I know it's the American way, and I grew up in America. I was born here. It's like how can you have kids when you can barely like cover your bills? Well, people have been doing that for all eternity. You know,
Right.
it didn't occur to my grandfather to be like, man, I'm really poor, I should stop having kids. No, he did the opposite. He just kept having kids, 6 of them. I think he had 4 miscarriages. So it's just like, you would think that they wanted to make money. Like my father told a story when he was really poor. He had nothing to eat, and he cried to his dad about it. It's like you would think at one point, like, hey, Dad, why do you have all these siblings? So you can't spare enough money to give me seconds. It's like, nah, we're just gonna keep pop, pop, pop. And if you go to the old world, it's just what the people do. They just have kids and they live in squalor. And the hardships make the kids grow up to be functional adults usually. In America, we're all pampered. And look at what happens to trust fund kids. They're a meme for a reason. They grow up in all this luxury, and they don't ever see their parents because their parents are too busy making the bucks. So it's just a disaster. So maybe, hey, look, you can still have your wife and still have your kids, but maybe you can't have your money at it. And what that
Right.
entails, what you're going to do, who knows? Maybe.
And so continuing with what you're saying, I think I would be fine because money has never been the thing that I've been pursuing. Obviously, I wouldn't have tried to do all the academic crap, and knowing that it wasn't going to be, a huge financial reward.
Yeah.
But now it's like the money for me is tied with this idealistic lifestyle, or trying to hedge myself against what I see as the next 5 to 10 years of the world. Again, who knows what's going to happen, but based on the last year and a half. And so that's why I get this anxiety. Like so it brings this whole conversation back full circle because it propels me to then, oh crap, I got to work more. I can't take a day off. I got to keep going because getting that thing built, getting that family, which is ultimately what I want. It's like the money, I feel like, and it could, again, it's the problematic way to approach the problem. But it feels like I have to make the money and the material stuff to get the other thing because that's the way the world makes you feel and think, And then you have previous relationships with women and you understand how money works. So I haven't met the right
Women are expensive.
Right, whether the right one or the wrong one.
Yeah, it's rough, and then you get all the mixed signals where it's just like she's trying to compete with you, but she wants you to pay for her. You're like, wait, what? And strangely enough, I've had probably the most positive results when I refuse to pay for women, which is very odd. But it all breaks down to having faith in God, and
right.
One thing we got to keep in mind is what's the old saying? The saying that if things don't go wrong in your life for an extended period of time, they say that God has forsaken you, that it's a bad thing. So when we're making up our plans for what we're going to be in the future, right? We got to keep in mind that like we got to be humble and put the Lord's plans first. We're going to go on autopilot a little bit and do what we think is right. With prayer and guidance. But you got to keep in mind that it's if it goes 100% our way, something is wrong. Relatively speaking, I know it's a very context sensitive statement, but it's just like it's like, hey, look, I didn't expect this second job offer to land in my lap. I'm like, oh, that solves my money problem. And then the other problem was like, oh, well, now I have this orthodox problem of like, are you ever going to pray with second 2 jobs? And I'm like, no. And then I'm like, oh, snap, here's a crisis now. Like,
right.
It's just like, like I said, what I thought was a blessing was actually a test. Same thing with, any guy's pursuit of marriage, anything of, it's anything. I just finished recently Rush's book, what is it called? American Pilgrim. And I mean, the way he phrases it, it's like things have gone so topsy-turvy for that guy, and everything what he does is he just keeps returning to prayer. It's like, Lord, what do you want me to do? It's actually kind of interesting the way he handled his relationship with God, because he'll just straight up in his prayer, hey God, what do you want me to do next? And then something will happen. I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty fascinating. I wish I can connect with the God that easily. But
Right.
but that's a good model for us to follow. It's
Right.
just like, hey, let's. If you recall, there was a stream where it was a great stream, by the way. What was it? It was like the dating app stream that you did, the dating app
Yeah.
stream, and you were going through, and the end, the coup de grace was like, okay, here's my choice, is what you mentioned, and you're like, and I couldn't get over it. You're like, yeah, she needs to be at least an 8 out of 10. I'm like, what? 8 out of 10? What? And you're like, and you wouldn't back down. You're like, nah, I need an 8 out of 10. Look, I'm a good looking guy. I got smarts. I have it all. I can get this. And to make a quick kibosh on this particular anecdote,
Yeah.
we'll refer to Saint Pais. Was it Saint Pais or Saint Porphyrios? A guy went up to him and he's like, hey, look, I'm going to marry this woman. I'm having second thoughts. And he's like, oh, this woman is going to be a terrible wife. You should marry her, because if you marry her, you're guaranteed to go to heaven, because that's how bad you're going to have it.
Oh my God.
Right? Like you're like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, no, like, because we don't, like, when we get into these, when you be a monastic where you get married, it's not supposed to be butterflies and rainbows. It's supposed to be like a sacrifice to yourself, and you think, oh, it's so beautiful, I'm going to be able to give myself to my wife. It's like, sometimes she's going to be a harpy, and you're going to want to defetish her. You're going to want to jump out of a window. And, like, that's actually like, you go to your priest, and if he's a good priest, like, yeah, it's supposed to be like that. Things are going good. Like, wait, what? Like, yeah, keep praying, dude, because if she stops being a harpy towards you, you're going to stop praying, because if things are good, you stop praying, which is true. But we don't pray when things are good, typically, for me, myself, anyway.
Right.
So keep that in mind. Like, doesn't mean you can't get an 8 out of 10, but, everything has a price, man.
It does. It does. And there's been a lot of experience that, again, don't go public on this end of the camera regarding this whole wife search. And so it is just how things go, just how things have been. It is so obvious, like, based on the probabilities of some of these stories that I would have, that God is, he wants me to entirely let go. And it's like, I think I'm doing it. I talk to my priest, I pray, and it's like, clearly I'm not.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah.
Even I at interaction, and I was just surprised. Like, the worst parts of me pop up when I'm interacting with women, and the thing is, you don't even know it's there, or maybe you know it's there, but you always refuse to look at it. And then when you're interacting with the ladies and they part, hey, that's kind of like off kilter, Gabe. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that part of you is really off kilter. And I look at myself and I'm like, holy crud, she's right. And then there's a whole mix of not only self-loathing, but you also resent her for pointing that out. They're like, how dare you point out my flaws, you little. And the thing is, she's completely right. But, like, our ego gets in the way. What can we do, man? We're men. What can we do?
Right. It's true. It's true. And that's what, it's such a continual struggle. And that's the Orthodox life, is like, just to be willing to struggle the rest of your life, because you can't live the Orthodox life. I mean, we're all trying, right? It's a goal that's so high that only Christ could do it. That's why we have theosis. That's the standard.
We gotta carry our cross in the context of like having a terrible life partner. Like a quote unquote terrible. That is the husband's cross, or the wife's cross. Like, withstanding a tumultuous marriage is and staying the course and keeping a strong prayer life. And if you got a harpy for a wife, you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall to God and like, God, please help me. I can't stand this. Give me the strength. And you pray every day. It's gonna make you stronger. The same thing. And here's a whole kind of worms. And I see this a lot when you're reading Orthodox materials. Like, people have children who go astray. A similar story or a faithful man, his kid goes astray, and he's like, Father, I'm praying at night like you told me, and I wake up early to pray extra hours, and the holy man's response to this was, good, your son will make you into a saint. Now get what he's not saying. oh, good, your son's going to act better. He didn't even say that. He said, good, with all your prayer, he's going to get you into heaven. It's like, wait, what? I don't get what I want. Like, life is not about what we want. It's what we need to do.
Right.
And the tools that God gives us, I mean, no one wants to get a big, heavy cross, but like, yeah, we're going to hang you from this. You don't go, yippee! But, you know, that's kind of like what life is about getting thrown across and dealing with making do.
Man, you're spitting fire tonight, bro.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to, I've actually been recently tempted, like, oh, one of these days I should like just drive out to Indiana and just hang out with COTEL, see what happens. I'm over here at Jersey living in my head because the stress of dealing with my 2-job situation and having to quit it and like disappointing my work mentor, which I have to do some cleanup with that tomorrow morning. I'll give him a call like after liturgy or whatever and see if I can't smooth it over, and if not, I can't. But I've been meaning to, I don't know, just like hang with some Orthodox bros, and particularly your content. I just wanted to give you a great shout out because your stuff is just on point. It's always straight fire, and you really hit some of the streams you have. It just knock it out of the park, man.
Well, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate your support. Just you ranting, dude. I love this. Like I almost want you to come on and just do a little bit more. This is hilarious, man. I had no idea you had such a big personality.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. I mean, look, you get a hint of like
and the Jersey accent. It just everything comes together perfectly.
Yeah, you got a hint of my enthusiasm with all the super chats I send, man, because I love your stuff.
Man, I really do appreciate it, brother.
Well, we can cook this up, right? You actually have my email, so if you look out Cobol in your address, I bought some stuff from you, and I've actually had the customer stuff. So shoot me an email if you want to fish out a couple of topics, and we can get something going. And yeah, it'll be fun if you ever want like a more lighthearted or like middle tier stream. I can do a little more of the heavier stuff. The guy in the last caller, he's kind of like a couple digits over my IQ as far as like that kind of stuff goes. Like I can sort of keep up with that, but not really,
No,
so.
Dude, you're like a mix between an Orthodox stand-up comedian and like a Jersey Dominican mob member. I'm not sure where exactly it all fits, but it's really interesting.
Philosophical Jersey meathead.
I like it, bro. I love it, man. Thank you, brother. And it's nice to know who's on the other side of the screen names, because when you just have text in the live chat, and then you have a picture and a name, that you like begin to build weird relationships online with people, but that's all you know of them.
Yeah, there's a similar relation when you're texting with women. You do know that sensation is just like, oh, if I was in your presence, you would not be behaving this way, but you're not in our presence. You're just characters on a screen.
Right. Exactly.
You're just characters on a screen, and all the human communication. All I want to say, if you're going to interact with like everyone this stream, you're going to interact with the opposite sex, do it in person as much as you can.
Yes, that's a fact. That is a fact. Well, anyway, brother, David, thank you so much, man. Yeah. God bless you and your family. Gosh, have a great morning tomorrow at liturgy. Thank you again, brother, for all the support. It's so nice to knowing again who's behind the screen name, and brother, I appreciate it so very much. But yeah, I'll definitely reach out, man. We'll have to do we'll just have to do a fun little chat sometime, and just kick it back and forth.
All right, man. Take care, boss. Enjoy liturgy tomorrow.
You too. God bless.
God bless. Bye.
All right. Keenan is now hopping in. This will be the last caller for tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello?
Keenan, what's up, brother?
Hey, David. Well, Patrick, my bad. The stream was a little behind, so you.
It is. It's like 20, a little over 20 seconds lagging right now. But what's going on, brother?
Man, not much. Just hanging out with Church of the Eternal Logos on Saturday night.
Hey, one of the callers was reached out earlier, and was really appreciative of your music. He said he's been listening. He loves the lo-fi stuff that we put out. Your music, made some visuals too, but it was all your music. And he said he listens to it quite a bit. and he really loves it, and it gives him a sort of a real light, beautiful feeling is the way that he described it.
Man, that's awesome to hear. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
whoever that was. And I'm glad I can provide that for you guys. That's awesome.
absolutely, man. And for those of you who don't know, this is Keenan. This is spelled different than your stage name.
Yeah, man. So I use KEYNAN for my music name, and then just my regular name is
Okay.
KEENAN. Just to kind of separate it a little bit, and also keys. So I play the keys. So thought it was kind of catchy to kind of throw that into my name for music.
So what are you up to tonight?
Not much, man. Just hanging out at the house and doing some reading and making some music here and there.
Heck yeah.
I'm actually, man, I saw you on live stream and I was researching attending liturgy in the morning. My first time. I've never been to an Orthodox church, and so I really don't know what to expect. So I wanted to call in and get some practical advice on kind of, what's going to be going on. I got there's something called Orthros at 8:15, and then liturgy at 9:30, and I just like being in a Baptist church my whole life, man. I really don't even know what to do when I'm there.
Okay, so you're in the right place. So like we talked privately. Are you going to go to the Antiochian church?
Yeah, the Antiochian church.
Yeah, do that, man. That church looked really nice. So you're going to want to go to the Divine Liturgy. You can go to Orthros if you want. That is really a pre-service that is sort of liturgically preparing everybody for what we're about to do at the liturgy. So it's more of a prayer service before the liturgy starts. And it's almost like it's praying, it's getting people in the right kind of sacred mindset for the liturgy. I don't always go to Orthros. Some people who are probably much better Orthodox and more dedicated than I am, they go to Orthros and liturgy. I tend to just show up for liturgy, and then my church we have a class, usually a theology course after liturgy that we'll do together. So what you need to expect. So at least you're going to an Antiochian church, so it will have some ethnic qualities there, but because it's Antiochian in America, it's going to be much more American, and so there's going to be a lot more American converts at that church. When you walk in, obviously we talked about crossing ourselves, and so it's up, down, right shoulder to the left. People are going to cross themselves every single time that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit is mentioned during the liturgy. Now, people will also cross themselves whenever they talk about the Blessed Theotokos. You'll see that people cross themselves whenever they feel appropriate, like when something in the liturgy moves them or just shows some sort of reverence. Often people will also bow when they cross themselves somewhat, and so when you're in the service, you'll see, and other people will do this, when you see the priest, he will scent you with the incense. That is scenting the icons, and you are icons. So he does this to all the icons up at the altar, and then he turns around and he does this to the parish. And when he does it in your direction, you're supposed to bow towards him in reverence, because the bowing is recognizing the icon in each other. But when you enter into the sanctuary, you also want to cross yourself. You want to bow and cross yourself. I've seen some people are pretty stout on doing it 3 times and then they enter. Some people just do it once. Some people don't do it at all. But the typical custom is when you enter into the sanctuary, you always cross yourself and bow before entering. Some people do it 3 times. Again, if you just do it once, it's your first time, people are going to think that you are aware of what's going on. So that will be a big one. And the other part is you can't really prepare somebody. Like following the liturgy, they may or may not have a book for you. Given that it's Antiochian, I imagine that they will probably have some books in the narthex, which is the area before the sanctuary. So every church has what's called a narthex, which is like an intermediary place often where they have candles to burn before entering into the sanctuary, but it depends on the church. And in the narthex, often they'll have booklets that will then have the whole liturgy, so you can follow. If you don't have a booklet, you're really not going to have a chance to follow the liturgy, so don't really try. I would just find a comfortable spot and just take it all in. Don't try to follow it. Don't try to participate. I mean, try to participate, but really just try to take more and more of it in, because you'll feel a sense of discomfort, because you see how the performance of the liturgy and the laity, it goes together. So there's going to be a lot of people doing different things, but you can't understand any of that until you're there and you witness it. So, so I would say just find a comfortable space, and if you can go potentially, if you can arrive a little bit earlier than just right on the dot, and you can meet somebody who's at the church, let them know that you're an inquirer, let them know that this is your first time. So if they have resources like the booklets, they'll be sure to give them to you and stuff like that. But that will help give you a sense of direction, because a lot of people, when you first attend a liturgy, especially if you're not Catholic and didn't grow up in a sacramental tradition like that, there's a lot going on, and it just seems like it can be overwhelming to people. I've heard people describe it as that, but also, for many people, it's incredibly beautiful. I've known multiple people that have broke down in tears their first time going to a liturgy, because of the beauty, because of the reverence, because of the spirit you can feel, the pious spirit you can feel amongst everybody that's there. Now, again, that depends on the parish, but yeah, for your first time, I would say, just get there a little bit early. Let them know that you're an inquirer, and don't put too much pressure on yourself to like look like you fit in, because that's going to really distract you from just appreciating what's going on and just watching. Just observe everything that's going on, and just take appreciation for it. And then next time you go, you won't have like this, because nothing I can say is going to totally get you prepared for it. So just by going there and taking everything in, next time, the time after, next Sunday, not this coming Sunday, you'll feel so much more comfortable than you will than probably this first Sunday, just because it's going to be so foreign. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. That's the number one thing I would say, or you won't enjoy it, because it's going to feel like too much pressure, like you're too self-conscious and you're thinking about everything you're doing, and the way you're, oh crap, I crossed myself from the left shoulder to the right, I didn't do it right, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm pretty excited. I've never really experienced anything like that, and I'm sure it's beautiful, and I'm just gonna do my best to let God guide me through the whole thing, and just take it all in.
Absolutely, man. I hope you enjoy it. Based on our conversation, I think you absolutely will. It seems like you have been very serious about your spiritual journey, and so may God bless you with what it is that you're looking for, what it is that you need for your journey. But I think you're gonna have a good time. Now, I know that you're a musician, as we talked about. No instruments.
Yeah, man, I'm kind of worried. I'm kind of worried the lack of electric guitar might affect me somehow.
I know you're really looking for a worship service with a whammy bar.
Yeah, man, I was expecting some radio music, but I think I can stand my way through it.
Right.
But I appreciate you, Patrick. I appreciate the advice, man, and I'm sure that I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Yeah,
sometime.
Please do, man. We'd love to hear about your experience at the church. Is there anything else you want to talk about, man? What are you up to tonight? Other than you said you're just working on some music and chilling?
Yeah, just kind of working on some music, and my cousin's watching the UFC fight, so I'm in and out.
Nice.
Checking that out. It's a pretty big one.
Who's fighting tonight? Dude, I've been so disconnected with sports and like the rest of the world. I don't even know who's fighting.
Yeah, it's a heavyweight fight. I forgot the exact names of the gentlemen's, but Miocic
Oh, yeah.
and Yurgomedov, I think is their name.
Oh, okay. Nice.
They're fighting for the heavyweight title. So, and also Sean O'Malley's fighting tonight. I'm not sure if you know who he is, but he's a
Yep.
pretty big name in the UFC recently.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, dang, that makes me want to actually have a fight to watch. I have nothing to do after this. I'll probably just take some melatonin and wait to go to bed.
Yeah. What? That's all you got going on tonight?
Yeah, it's already 10:36 here, and I got
Oh,
liturgy in the morning. So I'll probably go pop some melatonin and probably maybe read something. I don't know. Listen to some music.
Yeah.
Try to do something relaxing and just go to bed. That's about my plans. But
Yeah, man.
well, anyways, brother, thank you for calling in, man. I appreciate it. Again, I had a great time talking to you, privately. I feel like we had such a great conversation, and God bless you and your family, man. I hope you have an incredible experience tomorrow at liturgy, your first ever Orthodox liturgy, guys. Keep Keenan in your guys' prayers, and I love. Please, just privately reach out to me and let me know what you think tomorrow. I'd be really curious. I hope you have a good experience.
Yeah, man. I'll send you a message, and thanks so much for the blessings, and God bless you as well, and God bless everybody here in the chat. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, take it easy, brother.
Thanks, man. See ya.
Yep. Bye. All right, guys. That was our good friend and fellow musician, Keenan. Guys, this has now taken us to 3 hours. We're going to call it a wraps here. But before I do, I want to reread that one special poem by my grandmother that I had difficulties getting through earlier. So for some of you who joined later, there was a particular poem that my grandmother read that I got a little bit choked up trying to read earlier, and so I want to reread that poem to conclude tonight's stream. But I do want to thank everybody who put in some super chats first. So over on the Streamlabs link, let me see if anybody put in some new super chats since the last time I checked. Yes, we have 2 from General Now, N-A-O, General Nao, or he threw in $20. Geez, thank you so much, brother, for the $20. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And he said, I was just wondering if it would be blasphemous to sample some Bulgarian choirs and put beats behind it. Of course, using the utmost respect and reverence. Well, I know based on my experience with the Orthodox circles is most people don't like that. I had a project and we were going to use some Orthodox chants and kind of make more lo-fi type music with them. And it just seemed like the general consensus was not to, that more people disliked it than liked the idea. So that's why we don't do that on the YouTube channel, but we do use gospel, sort of black gospel type music or even white gospel music, and B-Dibe, who you guys know, Brandon Dybert, a very good Orthodox friend and brother here in our community. He makes great music sampling some of the gospel stuff. So at least with my channel, that's where I feel most comfortable with right now is I'll use Protestant gospel type music, use hymns, and then sample that into a song. That way it gets the point, the intention of Christ without offending all my Orthodox friends, because the putting beats behind the chants and the choirs, a lot of people don't like that. So that's why I avoided doing that. And then General Now also threw in another $5. Thank you so much, brother. And he said, did your grandma make quilts? And I believe she did. She did make quilts. She was the traditional grandmother with lots of those activities. Quilts. I remember she loved to, was it crochet? She would do that all day in the rocking chair and then write poems and stuff like that. So thank you very much, General Now, for that contribution. And again, I want to give a special shout out to Jimmy. Thank you for the 369. Thank you, Theoria Zone. Thank you very much, brother, who said, very moving and relevant words of wisdom from your grams. Thank you for sharing. And don't thank me. thank Uncle Joe Biden. And so I appreciate that our brother Theoria Zone has used some of his Biden bunks here with Church of the Eternal Logos. Thank you for your generous tithe. And then General Now, thank you so much. And I want to give a special shout out to George's Journal. Thank you very much, George's Journal, for your contribution, brother. And he put in, and this is where I think all of us, again, we should just keep George also in our prayers and say a prayer for George and all of our fellow Orthodox brothers who may be in or feel similarly to George. And he put in a very generous super chat of $24.99. And George said, "Thanks for being a light in the dark. Orthodoxy is my heritage that I rediscovered, and I think all I want to pursue now. I am a loser at 35, and health problems have kind of wrecked me, but I feel like Orthodox is calling." And so George is not a loser. George is here in our community, and so George, we accept you, brother. So you're not a loser because you're going to be part of our community, and we'll pick you up. In regards to 35, man, you have so much of your life ahead of you. So don't feel like you're too old. I'm 31. We're kind of in the same ballpark, you know. Ask anybody below 30, and there is no difference between 31 and 35. To them, it's all the same. Anything above 30 is all the same. So, that is what I want to say to George, that you're not a loser, brother. Despite being 35, and if you have health problems that you're struggling with, again, we can pray for you. We'll lift you up, and also change that psychological disposition you have towards yourself. We got to change that, and Orthodoxy is calling you, brother. You know, continue to be part of our community. Start finding a real spiritual family and a church to attend, and I guarantee you're going to find people that are going to be here for you, brother. And so George also put in another $4.99. He said, "Disciplining the imagination, that's my biggest struggle. My life is daydreaming and getting too far in my head." And brother, I am right there with you. I'm always in my head, and I'm always like trying to plan like steps ahead. I'm always trying to think out and be ahead of other people, right? Or ahead of the world or ahead of activities. And it's something I really have to watch myself doing. So I'm right there with you, George, in regards to that. And George's Journal, $4.99. He put in another $4.99. He said, "Oh man, right on the money. No pun intended. I already have a job that I'm good at, and I keep saying if I make more money, it'll somehow matter." Yeah, George, I'm the same way, man. You just want to keep working, and it's hard to fight that presupposition that somehow by working harder, potentially making more money, that it'll move us towards our goals in the end. Obviously, that is the wrong approach from a Christian standpoint. You know, it's God's going to take us to our end point, our telos, our destination, and working should be something that we do. We have to labor, but we shouldn't live to work. We just work so we can have the life and the lifestyle that we choose. George, it sounds like we have much of the same problems, brother. So don't be so hard on yourself. And our brothers and sisters in the community need to lift him up. Gen Z Philosophy said, "St. John the Beloved with his head resting in the bosom of the Lord at the Last Supper is the most beautiful mental image I have from the Gospels." And he threw in another $4.99 and said, "Your grandma's got bars." So thank you very much, Gen Z Philosophy. Thank you, George. Thank you, Theoria Zone. Thank you, Jimmy. And thank you, General Now, for all your guys' contribution and support tonight. Now, I do want to leave you guys with this final poem that I read earlier. I got a little bit choked up, as did most of the people in the chat. And so I just want to give it one more go, and this time try to keep clear eyes and leave you guys with something that is hopefully powerful and meaningful. And so this is a poem written by my grandmother, Helen T. Harry, Turbyville Harry, titled "A Letter from Heaven." I'm writing this from heaven, where I dwell with God above. Here there's no more tears or sadness. Here is just eternal love. Please do not be unhappy just because I am out of sight. Remember, I am with you every morning, noon, and night. That day I had to leave you when my life on earth was through. God picked me up and hugged me, and he said, I welcome you. It's good to have you back again. You were missed while you were gone. As for your dearest family, they'll be here later on. I need you here so badly. You are part of my big plan. There's so much that we have to do to help our mortal man. God gave me a list of things that he wished for me to do. And foremost on that list was to watch and care for you. I will be beside you every day and week and year. And when you're sad, I'm standing there to wipe away the tear. But do not be afraid to cry. It does relieve the pain. Remember, there would be no flowers unless there was some rain. I wish I could tell you all that God has planned, but if I were to tell you, you wouldn't understand. But one thing is for certain, though my life on earth is over, I am closer to you now than I was before. And to my friends, trust God. He knows what is best. I'm still not very far from you. I'm just beyond the crest. There are many rocky roads ahead of you, and there's many hills to climb. But together we can do it by taking one day at a time. It was always my philosophy, and I'd like it for you too, that as you give unto the world gives back to you. If you can help somebody who's in sorrow or in pain, then you can say to God at night, my day was not in vain. And I know I am contented that my life, it was worthwhile, knowing as I passed along the way, I made somebody smile. So if you meet somebody who is down and feeling low, just lend a hand to pick them up as you're on your way to go. When you are walking down the street and you've got me on your mind, I'm walking in your footsteps. I'm only a half step behind. And when you feel that gentle breeze or the wind upon your face, that's me giving you a great big hug or just a soft embrace. And I will always love you from the land up above. We'll be in touch again soon. P.S. God sends his love. And so that was a poem by my grandmother titled Letter from Heaven. And so I thought that was a really beautiful poem. I just wanted to share with you guys. And so, Nathaniel Hill, another good brother, threw in 1453. And he said, God bless. Well, thank you so much, Nathaniel, brother, for the super chat. Thank you for your support, man. Again, hope all is well and you and the family are doing well on a Saturday night, brother. Thank you very much for that very pleasant surprise. I may have heard something in the background if there was another super chat on the back end. No. So it was just Nathaniel Hill. Thank you so much, Nathaniel, brother. Again, God bless you, and I hope the girls are doing well. Hope your wife is well and the family's doing well, brother. God bless you guys. And that concludes tonight's stream, y'all. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and you guys attend liturgy tomorrow. God bless all of you, and God bless your families. Thank you, Dr. Klaus. Thank you, George's Journal. Thank you, Nathaniel. Thank you, Gen Z Philosophy. Thank you, Theoria Zone. Thank you, Jimmy. And thank you, General Now. Again, I truly, truly appreciate it. And as always, by the way, guys, I'll be on live tomorrow night with Made by Jim Bob. 7 o'clock Sunday night. We'll be with Made by Jim Bob right here. So please join us. But anyways, thank you all, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. As always, until next time, God bless.